The average price of Bitcoin is $14,948. Antiwar.com reports Saudi-led coalition forces have reported gains in the central Taiz province, with heavy fighting leaving dozens of Shiite Houthis killed, and claims that the Houthis have totally lost their supply line in the area. After the initial Saudi invasion in early 2015 at Aden, Saudi-led forces tried to advance north on the capital directly, but the fighting stalled at Taiz, where it's been contested ever since. Alternate routes have been attempted, but similarly stalled partway through. Houthi officials have not offered any statement on the latest exchanges, which were reported through the United Arab Emirates media outlets. Locals in Taiz, however, said they were still getting supplies through the Ib province. It would be difficult for a single offensive to totally cut off Houthi supply lines into Taiz. However, as they control much of the province and a broad number of routes from the north, it would have to be a massive push to cut off all potential supply lines.
For over 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. And as a Bitcoin-preferred business, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co.
UPI reports a Virginia recount court on Wednesday denied Democrat Shelley Simon's request to reverse a ruling that led to a tie in the House of Delegates race. As a result of the court's decision, the State Board of Elections will settle the tie by drawing a name from a container in Richmond on Thursday, more than 3 weeks after a recount declared Simons the winner of the race by a single vote. The result of the drawing will affect the balance of the House of Delegates, which Republicans have held a majority of since 2000. The initial drawing was postponed after Simons contested that a ballot can only be challenged during a recount, according to recount rules. The three judges asserted they followed the rules properly by ruling a ballot that had both candidates' names filled in, but featured a strike through Simon's name as a vote for her opponent, Republican incumbent David Yancey. The judges argued the language in the law is plain and unambiguous, adding that there isn't any language that says this written statement can only be submitted at a certain time. After learning of the court's decision, Simons wrote a letter to Yancey asking that they make a pact that neither candidate request a recount, contest the election, or pursue further litigation if they lose the drawing. Simon's proposed pact also requests both candidates insist the winner of the draw be seated on January 10th, the first day of the 2018 General Assembly session. Yancey said he would not agree to the pact, essentially guaranteeing Republicans a House majority when the session begins, regardless of who wins the drawing. If neither candidate is seated, the House will be split 50-49 between Republicans and Democrats as they vote to elect a new speaker and pass rules governing committees, which determine whether bills reach the House floor.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organization to show up in an emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare to the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT NoGov license. Cell 411, because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com. That's getcell411.com.
Reuters reports a California man suspected of making a hoax call that led to police in Kansas killing an unarmed man will not fight extradition to the Midwestern state, according to prosecutors. 25-year-old Tyler Barris has waived his right to an extradition hearing, according to a spokesman for the LA County District Attorney's Office. Barris remains in LA County jail without bail, according to the prosecutors. Authorities suspect Barris of swatting, in which a call falsely reports an emergency requiring a police response, usually by special weapons and tactics or SWAT teams. The 28-year-old victim, Andrew Finch, was fatally shot by a Wichita police officer after law enforcement officials rushed to his home following a phone call falsely reporting that hostages were being held there. The Wichita Police Department did not immediately respond to a request for comment. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
If you live in Williamsburg, chances are good you've seen them. Giant piles of beard hair rotting in the streets. Don't worry, it just means hipster molting season is here again. Experts say the husks of dead beards don't pose a threat to public safety and are just part of the natural life cycle of these strange organisms.
Once a year, all at the same time, every 20-something urban male sheds his ironic beard to make room for larger, more fanciful facial hair. They need the beards. They're a tough exoskeleton that protects these young people from the non-whimsical realities of life.
The U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service says it's the largest molting season on record. In Brooklyn, sanitation crews are working overtime to clean up the loose whiskers the exuviating males have left behind. The affected youth's molting season comes right before their mating season, when the males use their lush beards to impress the local hordes of burlesque females.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live. This is Free Talk Live. We'll give you the toll-free call-in number here momentarily, where you can join us on this snowy day. Well, what are they calling this thing? Bombogenesis, bomb cyclone, snowmageddon, something.
Yeah, it's a bomb of a snowstorm, and I don't know. I know that we got close to a foot, it looks like. So I'm sure back up at the house. I haven't been to the house all day.
The AccuWeather this morning was saying 3 to 6 inches, and I know I shoveled a lot more than 6 inches of stuff.
Oh, you see, Darryl, being somewhat of I'm still the emergency management director in my town, so I get the official government word on what the snow is going to be from the National Weather Service, a special release for people who do my job, and so it's always the most accurate, 3 to 6.
Well, as the federal official on Free Talk Live, I'm sure you got the memo from Jeff Sessions earlier today.
No, I did not get that one, but I did see some interesting headlines.
Yes, that's because you're not a U.S. attorney. Apparently, the memo, according to the Washington Post, was sent to U.S. attorneys on Thursday by Attorney General Jeff Sessions, who has decided to rescind several Obama-era directives that discouraged enforcement of federal cannabis laws in states that had legalized the substance. In the memo, Sessions noted that federal law prohibits the possession and sale of cannabis, and he undid several previous Obama administration memos that advised against bringing cannabis prosecutions in states where it was legal for recreational or medical purposes. Sessions said prosecutors should use their own discretion, taking into consideration the department's limited resources, the seriousness of the crime, and the deterrent effect that they could impose in weighing whether charges were appropriate. So, what are your thoughts here? So, he's saying, remember, attorneys, it's against the law at the federal level, but use your discretion.
Yeah.
So, are we a nation of, and this is something that I hear a lot, and I'm fairly certain you do as well, we're a nation of laws.
Yes.
We're a nation, you have to follow the law. We are a nation of laws.
Laws, not men, yes.
But yet, if they're urged to use their discretion, which is it? Are we a nation of laws, or are we a nation where prosecutors get to use discretion?
Right. And I think when we come up against laws that any administration says, well, we really need to use our discretion as to whether or not to, then you don't need the law.
Right.
Then that one just needs to go away, because if it's not important enough to be enforced in every single action, if there's, no common sense thought that you would not enforce it, like it's not okay to kill people. Right. That one you're going to enforce every single time.
Right.
But if it's something like this, then the easiest way to remove the confusion is just to remove the law.
Right, which means get rid of the federal schedule of narcotics.
That's a good step.
The statement here, again, this...
Oh, I thought we were going to continue and play What Else Can We Kill in the Federal Government? That's okay.
The federal government.
Okay. Well, you can whittle away at it.
Which part of the federal government would you abolish first? The entire thing?
Yeah, there you go.
Next question. The statement, this, again, story from the Washington Post says, Sessions said in the statement, quote, It is the mission of the Department of Justice to enforce laws of the United States, and the previous issuance of guidance undermines the rule of law and the ability of our local, state, tribal, and federal law enforcement partners to carry out this mission. Therefore, today's memo on federal marijuana enforcement simply directs all U.S. attorneys to use previously established prosecutorial principles that provide them all the necessary tools that disrupt criminal organizations, tackle the growing drug crisis, and thwart violent crime across the country. The move, first reported by the Associated Press, potentially paves the way for the federal government to crack down on the burgeoning cannabis industry, though the precise impact remains to be seen. It also might spark something of a federalist crisis, and it drew some resistance even from members of Sessions' own party. Senator Cory Gardner of Colorado said on Twitter, "The move directly contradicts what Attorney General Sessions told me prior to his confirmation," and he threatened to impede the nomination of the DOJ leader in response. Now, one thing that's interesting, and I'm no longer reading from the article here for a moment, is that California, just 4 days ago, became, the sixth state to open up with legal recreational cells?
I haven't kept count, but
which
sounds
means
about
that
right.
Now
Ballpark.
approximately 1 in every 5 Americans lives in a state where they can go, as long as they're over the age of 21, they can go purchase cannabis from a recreational shop somewhere in their state.
Right.
Might not be right down the road, but somewhere in the state where they live. And then that's not even counting all the people that live, say, within an hour's drive of the state border of one of the states that has taxed and regulated cannabis.
And I'd imagine that there may be some, maybe a large number of border towns that might have dispensaries or things like that too.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, if 1 in 5 live in a state with taxed and regulated recreational cannabis, how many people live within, say, an hour?
Oh, yeah. Yep, a huge percentage. Actually, does Massachusetts have it now? No.
They are supposed to wind up rolling out the taxed and regulated beginning, I believe, July.
Gotcha.
I think same thing for Maine.
Yeah. So, yeah, even us. I mean, we may be an hour. Well, definitely for Massachusetts when they get their act
We're
together.
half hour from the nearest town in Mass.
Yep, and a couple hours from Maine and stuff like that. Vermont's motion, I think, made it through their House today, I heard.
Okay. I had not kept
progress,
up with Vermont. I know that here in New Hampshire, where we are, the state legislature was supposed to have voted on something yesterday, wound up by special order placing it as the second item on the list for session day next week.
Gotcha.
And
I want to be...
It's going to be interesting to see if this new directive from Sessions affects the way the legislature votes next week.
Exactly. So I just got to say this because we probably have some new listeners tuning in. I don't smoke pot. I can't remember the last time I did. I know I did when I was younger, and pretty much everybody did when they were younger. But hell, I'm in my 50s. It's not about just whether or not I can go smoke a joint, because if it were legal in this state tomorrow, I still wouldn't do it tomorrow. It's just not something I think I enjoy anymore.
What about edibles, though? Because you can consume cannabis without lighting something on fire.
I get it. I've consumed cannabis before. I've consumed brownies, and I don't know. I just don't have a yearning to do these types of products. But that's not the point. The point is the government, the federal government, absolutely has no constitutional standing to come out and say that we can enact prohibition on the people of the United States on this particular plant. And if you want a little bit of history in this, look at what we had to do when we decided to prohibit alcohol. They literally had to amend the Constitution.
There's this thing called a constitutional amendment.
They had to amend the Constitution. So to attack drugs, which there's all sorts of reasons why they might have wanted to do that, and some of those are political.
Hippies.
But
Jazz musicians.
Exactly. But that's the whole thing. They've basically ginned up this big boogeyman to scare everyone, and now as more studies come out, we're finding more and more great uses for medical marijuana and for cannabis and some of the other products of it, and it's really changing lives. The point is, you shouldn't be denied use of a plant that grows naturally.
Your calls and thoughts welcome. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. What are your thoughts on this Trump administration proposal thing?
Thinking about getting into cryptocurrency but feel overwhelmed by the high price of Bitcoin? Or maybe you've used Bitcoin in the past, but were turned off by the high transaction fees and slow transfer times. It's time you looked into Dash. Dash is digital international money that you can send anywhere, anytime for less than a nickel. With Dash, your transactions can be instant and private. Dash offers a fully incentivized and decentralized peer-to-peer network where miners are rewarded for keeping the network fast, strong, and safe for its users. Start your journey at Dash.org. Since its launch in 2014, Dash has made a huge impact in the crypto world and is showing no signs of stopping. Check out Dash.org for more information about Dash and get in now on the future of cryptocurrency. Dash.org.
Cryptocurrencies are successful because of good technology. The liberty-loving voluntarists who founded Zencash in 2017 took the best tech, like zero-knowledge anonymity and decentralized autonomous organizations, and are creating a secure platform for money, messages, and media that can be sent to anyone, anywhere in the world. Zencash is a cryptocurrency dedicated to peace, anonymity, and decentralization. Find out more at zencash.com. That's zencash.com.
The Bitcoin.com wallet is a simple and powerful full-featured Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin Core wallet that allows you to send and receive either currency with anyone, anywhere in the world. The Bitcoin.com wallet supports both single and multi-signature wallets and is available in multiple languages. Download the Bitcoin.com wallet for easy and secure access to your Bitcoin Core and your Bitcoin Cash. The Bitcoin.com wallet is available for Android, iOS, Windows, Mac, and even Linux. Learn more at Bitcoin.com. That's Bitcoin.com.
Free Talk Live.
I wanted to ask your listeners about the religion and the people who practice Wicca. What do they think their agenda is? Is it to take over the world? Or?
Oh, no. No, I don't think so.
I mean, because they're somewhat of bullies.
They're bullies? What do you mean?
They bully with the religion themselves. A lot of people are afraid of them.
Can you give me an example?
The Tea Party.
The Tea Party has to do with Wicca?
Well, it's mostly because they're so secretive.
So
the Wiccans.
The Wiccans are secretive, and they have a lot of numbers, and they've infiltrated the Tea Party?
Well, they use them, like, for instance, the breakdown of Obamacare. That could very well have been the Wiccans using their power to break down the computers.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Did you know we've taken our LRN.FM telephone listen line to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line? Now you can call 712-770-8447 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed. And you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 712-770-8447 and choose from the menu. 712-770-8447.
When you hear the word lobbyist, you probably think about greedy corporations, but not all lobbyists are the same. Some are fighting for the freedoms you hold dear. Liberty Lobby LLC is doing just that in New Hampshire, working hard to represent you, not some special interest group. You can help by going to libertylobby.info, where your contribution will give us the tools we need to ensure that your voice is heard. Visit libertylobby.info today to find out more.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. In studio tonight, it's Darryl.
And Chris.
And cryptocurrencies are hot right now, but crypto is where it is because it's good technology. The liberty-loving voluntarist who founded Zencash in 2017 took the best tech, like zero-knowledge anonymity and decentralized autonomous organizations, and are creating a secure platform for money and messaging that can be sent to anyone, anywhere in the world. Zencash is a cryptocurrency dedicated to peace, anonymity, and decentralization. Find out more at zencash.com. That's zencash.com. So we're talking about the memo from earlier today sent by Attorney General Jeff Sessions to U.S. attorneys across the country, telling them to pay no attention to the Cole memo that was sent out in 2013 under President Barack Obama. There's a new sheriff in town, and I'm that sheriff, and you have to enforce this law all the time, except for when you decide you don't have to enforce it.
Right.
Use your own discretion, but this is the law, and you have to follow the law, except for when you decide you don't have to follow the law.
And please don't follow the law. That's all I'm asking. If a bad federal law is just not enforced, you're doing everybody in the country a service. That's a good thing. So prosecutors that are too busy to waste your time chasing down people for smoking a frickin' joint compared to people that are out there, murders and rapes. How many untested rape kits are there in the United States? We've covered this a couple times.
I don't know if they actually have a number.
We've heard reports of like hundreds and thousands of rape test kits that just are
known of,
that are just in queue, which means that there's a violent crime that is going unsolved.
Correct.
Yeah, prosecutors and cops run around looking for some frickin' high school kid who's got a pipe in his car. It's insanity. So please, just don't listen to Mr. Sessions and use your discretion, which I hope is common sense.
See, what would have made more sense was to just not release a new memo and leave the Cole memo in place. The Cole memo was issued by then Deputy Attorney General James Cole in 2013 after Colorado and Washington had decided to tax and regulate cannabis. The memo said that federal prosecutors were not going to go after cannabis in states where it was legal unless the prosecution was related to other bigger federal interests, such as crimes affecting children, organized crime, interstate transport, federal property, or money laundering. Getting back into the article from the Washington Post, again, there are even some Republicans that aren't happy with this, with Senator Cory Gardner of Colorado posting on Twitter that this new memo from Sessions directly contradicts what Sessions said prior to his confirmation. Gardner continues saying, with no prior notice to Congress, the DOJ has trampled on the will of the voters in Colorado and other states. I'm prepared to take all steps necessary, including holding DOJ nominees until the Attorney General lives up to the commitment he made to me prior to his confirmation. Gardner said that while he personally opposes cannabis legalization, his state voted otherwise, saying, quote, I talked to Jeff Sessions, and we're going to have a conversation next week. Let's just say there was no reconciliation of differences. Cannabis has been illegal under federal law, though the advice against bringing such cases in states that approve its use and sell had created an uneasy moratorium between state and federal authorities. Local leaders had long criticized Sessions' stance on cannabis, and even President Trump had stated on the campaign trail in 2016 that he believed the matter should be left up to the states.
There you go. That's a start. That the whole thing just needs to get off of a federal drug schedule. It needs to be treated like a plant, not the way it's treated right now, which is as addictive as and with no redeeming qualities, including medical reasons, as much as heroin.
Right, and
that's the current state.
Even though there are, I believe, 4 patients still on a federal program for receiving medical cannabis every month, 42 states to some degree have some level of what's referred to as therapeutic cannabis, meaning that either you can get a card saying, I am a patient, a doctor has prescribed this, or you can make what's called an affirmative defense.
Right.
To where in some states, if you are found in possession of small amounts of cannabis, you can then at trial say, I am using this to treat fill-in-the-blank symptom, and then it's up to the judge or the jury whether to believe that or not, but it is an allowed defense.
Yeah.
The article from the Washington Post continues, and of course, your calls and thoughts welcome, 855-450-FREE. 8 states and the District of Criminals have laws allowing for personal cannabis consumption, according to NORML, a group which advocates legalization and tracks cannabis-related legislation, and many more states permit the use of medical cannabis. Washington State Attorney General Bob Ferguson said in a statement he was disappointed and troubled by the decision of Jeff Sessions. Seattle Mayor Jenny Durkin, who helped craft the department's previous policy when she was a U.S. attorney, said reversing course now is a misguided legal overreach and an attack on Seattle, the state of Washington, and a majority of states where the voters have made their voices heard loud and clear. In a briefing with reporters, a senior DOJ official said it was unclear whether the new directive will or won't lead to more prosecutions because that will be up to individual U.S. attorneys across the country.
Unreal.
Let me basically stupefy what this idiot just said.
You're going to do that with that. To have at it, Darryl. Feel free.
We issued a directive, and we don't really know what the blue hell is going to happen because, well, we're telling people, use your own brain, and we're telling them that they have to enforce these things, but we don't know if they're actually going to follow the guidance that we issued. So, yeah, maybe people will wind up being prosecuted. Maybe they won't. We don't really know. And I'm not going to make a prediction because, well, I don't live in the heads of all of the U.S. attorneys.
Okay, fair enough. That sounds like he actually knows something right now. He recognizes that.
Right, but it would be akin to, passing a law and then, some member of Congress, well, we don't know if anybody's actually going to wind up enforcing the law that we passed, that we told them that they have to.
Right.
Because, discretion and whatnot.
And police officers have discretion in a lot of things, too. It's not just prosecutors.
Right, but again, either we're a nation of laws, which is what the right-leaning conservatives love to say,
and
nation of laws.
The left loves to say that, too.
Or are we a nation where prosecutors and cops wind up having discretion and can do whatever they want to? Your calls and thoughts welcome. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733.
The answer to being in control of your own healthcare is freedom from insurance. Become part of a group of self-pay patients that come together to share in each other's medical expenses. Individual share amounts begin at $107 a month and $347 for families. Choose from 3 health-sharing programs. Holistic treatments may be eligible for sharing. See guidelines. Discount programs available for dental, vision, and pharmacy. Go to libertyoncall.org. That's libertyoncall.org.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists, get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug-out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of Slingbow, a new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
Hi, this is Mark Edge of Free Talk Live. Michael W. Dean's book, User's Manual for the Human Experience, changed my life. In a culture that attempts to turn you into a compliant victim, this book gives you implementable steps on everything from how to be aware of your environment, walking down the street, to business, to how to handle a toxic person in your life. If you're a human, you need to read this book at least once. Go to Amazon and get the Kindle version, or paperback, or an audiobook of A User's Manual for the Human Experience.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com.
I've been told no in many different ways.
I give you an order and you're going to obey it.
George, you can go this way. You can do that and you have to leave here.
You cannot bring signs into the rally.
Walk with me. Well, I'm comfortable here, actually. Whoa. Hey. Who do you think you are? Excuse me.
There is no video and audio allowed in this office.
No, I have work today.
You ain't going to make it.
Wait a minute.
Hey! Oh my God! Unbelievable! Why are you running from me?
Because you scared me. What am I being detained for?
You're being served.
What is this?
You're being served.
What is this? Bureaucrats have a funny way of telling people no.
That's the sound of the men working on the chain.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. 855 450 free. That's 855 450 3733. Now, you can listen to us in multiple ways. Go to listen.freetalklive.com. There you'll find a list of all of our radio affiliates, over 165 of them. Plus, you'll find streams where you can listen online. You can watch the webcam if you want to. And I think there's a chat room connected to at least one of the things.
On YouTube, you can chat on YouTube, and I've chatted there before. And then also on the Free Talk Live feed, there's a chat room there.
Yeah, I thought there might have been a chat room on the website. But yeah, just check all of that out. Listen.freetalklive.com. So we're talking about the memo from Jeff Sessions that rescinds a memo from former Deputy Attorney General James Cole from 2013. The thing being referred to as the Cole memo said that federal attorneys would not wind up enforcing federal cannabis laws in states where cannabis had been legalized for either recreational or medical purposes. Now, the last time I looked at the federal budget, they still authorized spending $0 to enforce federal cannabis laws in states that had either legalized recreational or therapeutic cannabis.
That's interesting.
But Attorney General Jeff Sessions has said, pay no attention to that memo. That memo's rescinded. Attorneys, go ahead and enforce the laws, but use discretion about whether or not it's a good thing to enforce the law in this specific case or not. And a senior DOJ official who was not identified by the Washington Post said that he doesn't really know if it will or will not lead to more prosecutions because, well, it's up to all of the U.S. attorneys. He also said that the previous guidance, quote, created a safe harbor for the marijuana industry to operate in these states, and that was inconsistent with federal law. Now, we will get to the phones here in just a second. The article does mention there are 93 U.S. attorneys across the country, and, well, only 46 of those spots are currently filled under the Trump administration. That's because, when a new president comes in, they wind up asking all of the previous attorneys to wind up resigning.
Some
so
presidents.
that they can, it's been a standard operating procedure the last several administrations to
wipe the slate clean.
Yes. Ask all. Wow. Generally, I think Bush and Obama both wound up asking them to resign once their replacement had been confirmed. But there's always, we want our new people in. But there have been a couple of presidents over the last several that just wound up saying, nope, all of you leave today, and I'm putting my own people in, and they get in when they get in. 46 of those 93 positions currently filled. 58 people have been nominated. Sessions placed 17 more people into interim positions recently in Nevada, Colorado, and Washington, all states where cannabis is legal. Now, let's go to the phones because I had asked the question, are we a nation of laws, or are we a country where police and prosecutors have discretion and can do whatever they want? We've got David calling in from San Francisco. David, you're on Free Talk Live with Darryl and Chris. Go ahead with your thoughts.
Well, yeah, I was kind of stumped by when you were talking about this just a few minutes ago. You were talking about that both liberals, or I guess you phrased it more like old conservative government and liberal governments want laws. Well, it's because laws are here to protect us from basically pirates. If you abolish all laws, then piracy, mass murder, mayhem, looting, con artists, any number of different problems can happen. Piracy becomes legal when you get rid of all laws.
If I decide to remove marijuana from the drug schedule, do away with the drug schedule, and say this is just a plant, it has no reason to be regulated in any way whatsoever, as Darryl would say, no more than tomatoes. That causes piracy?
Well, no, you don't want to use that argument with what I just talked about. Because
you're saying that your argument is versus complete anarchism, the abolishment of a state?
No. The reason why it doesn't apply.
Okay.
Man comes up with artificial things, right? But if you take a plant that's been here since the planet was around, like hemp.
Sure. And
you look at it as a plant that's been used since civilization has existed, 5,000-6,000 years.
Yep.
They were making paper. They
medicines and
cattle silage.
Yep.
Yeah,
all kinds of things.
Any number of different things were made with hemp. Rope. Just alone, cavemen were making rope out of hemp. So if you talk about a law that was created 50-something years ago, well, more like 70 years ago.
Right.
That's like defying the laws of gravity. Making a law that defies the laws of gravity. And when you look at the way that hemp was outlawed, it was outlawed by the famous dirty publisher William Randolph Hearst.
He had a hand in it. Yep.
Yeah, and if you know about Hearst, he helped create the Spanish-American War. And when he did it, he was rewarded by giving vast forests in the Philippines and Mexico and all of the lands that the Spanish-American War, freed, so to speak. He was happy to take land grants for his part in stirring up the war.
Right.
And
he was for people that don't know, he was pretty much the propaganda arm of that early progressive era.
Oh yeah,
Teddy
isn't
Roosevelt.
he the guy that they came up with the term yellow journalism to
Well,
basically
they made it
describe?
about him.
Yeah.
Yeah, they made it about him because he was, and this kind of explains it as hemp.
Right.
You know, hemp paper. If you know, the Constitution is written on hemp paper. Hemp paper has low acid in it, and it'll last for hundreds of years. Low acid paper doesn't deteriorate, but high acid paper made out of trees does deteriorate. Now, what the problem was Hearst was stuck with huge forests, and he didn't know what to do with it. So he figured out that if he outlawed hemp, he'd be able to create a paper need, newspapers.
Right.
He'd be able to basically get his own, subscribers to pay for cutting down his forests.
That's interesting.
And so he outlawed it, and he helped create high acid paper.
Well, to be clear, Hearst didn't outlaw it because Hearst wasn't in government. What Hearst did do is acted as the propaganda arm. He had the ear of politicians. Politicians needed him and his millions of dollars at the time. And, he was one of the wealthiest people in the world. He owned newspapers across the country, which made him extremely influential. So it's really a good
on his paper, yeah.
Right, a good one of those things of crony capitalism in action where he wasn't so much interested in just give me the cash, but or let me do this, but make sure you protect my industries, so to speak.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's corrupt in so many different ways. It's pitiful when you imagine. And there are, when you look at, I don't know if I don't think I've talked to both of you all in the same series of conversations, but I come from a family. I'm related to one of the signers of the Declaration. John Hart from New Jersey. And we were always raised to understand that the British never stopped attacking us. In 1777, they were back to their crap. And if you look at Alexander Hamilton, when he ran the first Bank of the United States,
right,
which was like the Federal Reserve, he was borrowing money from the British.
Yep.
Now, why would we have just whipped their asses and all of a sudden we're borrowing money from them?
Because central banks make people rich and
David,
powerful.
Thank you for the call. Your calls and thoughts welcome. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Are we a nation of laws or not?
From the second letter of Captain Mark. Any pirate knows that commerce is communication. Markets condense oceans of information into a single price. Innovations in communication are circumventing the scrutiny of the Crown. This signals a change in the coin of the realm. The Crown uses digital currency to surveil, censor, seize, and destroy wealth at will, so pirate currency must protect us from this weaponized money. We need to move funds further, faster, cheaper, and without third-party observation, basing decisions on an accelerating flow of information. So pirates require nearly instantaneous transactions with no arbitrary limits on volume or artificial influences on fees. Most importantly, a pirate currency must preclude centralization. Otherwise, it will become another link in our chain to the Crown. A superior currency will result in the obsolescence of the coin of the realm and the extinction of the Crown itself. Trade above the grid. Join us at pirateswithoutborders.com.
It's about time something new came along for better selling and buying online. And I found it.
What now, Marge?
It's buysellmakeoffer.com.
Never heard of it.
It's a brand new company. That's why you've never heard of it. It's the newest and best way to sell any products online. I did all the research.
Sell my car?
Yes.
Our home?
Yep.
My golf bag?
Your golf clubs. All of them.
How about your purse collection hoard?
Hey, now.
You said any product.
Right. I did. We get 30 days free.
Really?
Packages starting from only $9.95. And buysellmakeoffer.com will never charge item fees, ever. Never. And this is cool. Listen to this. You can even use Skype or video to show your items.
That's cool.
Yes. All we have to do is go to the website, sign up, and then load our stuff to sell. I love this site.
Buysellmakeoffer.com.
Buysellmakeoffer.com. You got it?
Buysellmakeoffer.com.
Buysellmakeoffer.com. Better selling, better buying.
Free Press Publications is an independent, alternative media and publishing company founded in June 2009 with the mission of ensuring a free press for the freedom movement and is committed to spreading the message of peace, freedom, love, and liberty. FPP also gives new authors an avenue for publishing freedom-oriented material. FPP brings you daily news and commentary on the website fpp.cc, as well as a daily 5-minute newscast, FPP Radio News, and weekly news, views, and commentary in the FPP Freedom Minute and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio at fppradio.com, and the monthly newspaper FPP News at news.fpp.cc. Find FPP online at fpp.cc. That's fpp.cc, as in Creative Commons.
Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that 1/10 of a calorie it takes to click on something. facebook.freetalklive.com.
Are you tired of your taxes funding endless occupations around the world? Antiwar.com is run by people who understand that wars abroad become wars at home, wars on our freedoms. Antiwar.com is dedicated to bringing you the latest in news, views, interviews, and reviews from the top movers and shakers in the anti-occupation movement. Antiwar.com has it all, from thorough foreign policy analysis to interviews with whistleblowers who used to run the military-industrial complex. Anti-war, pro-free market. That's antiwar.com.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, 855 855-450-3733. In studio tonight, it's Darryl.
And Chris.
And we're talking about the Jeff Sessions memo that rescinded an Obama-era memo about how federal prosecutors should wind up dealing with cannabis in states where it is legal either for recreational or medicinal purposes. Plus, coming up, interesting story out of Venezuela that we might get into. But speaking of Venezuela, a headline from news.bitcoin.com is that the Venezuelan government has published a decree outlining the operation of their national cryptocurrency called the Petro. They're looking for people to mine said currency while also claiming that they already have like 860,000 people lined up to mine the Petro. Now, I wonder how many of those people are outside of Venezuela saying they want to mine the Petro, or if this is just a bunch of people that the Venezuelan government has told, you are now going to mine the Petro.
Congratulations, you're now a miner. Do they have electricity? That's the first thing I thought of when I heard about this whole crypto thing.
Yeah, they kind of, but not really. It's not consistent.
Well, for those of you new to the concept of mining cryptocurrencies, electricity is number one ingredient. You can't really do it without it. Technically, you can do mining on paper. It is solving mathematical problems. It will take you years or decades to mine.
Okay, but still,
you can transact.
If I sit there and I figure out the math problem, I can't just like raise my hand and say, "Teacher, I've got the answer here."
Right.
It's got to somehow get.
It will be translated. It will be solved. It can be proven to be solved. It is math. That is what cryptocurrency is. It's all about the numbers.
Right, but it also requires computers that are connected to other computers that can verify that math
or time. You can use tools to do it very quickly, or as quickly as you possibly can. But when it comes right down to it,
if you jot down an answer on a piece of paper, you're not going to be able to just shove that piece of paper into the Bitcoin node or the Petro node or the Dash node.
I understand what you're saying. Please understand what I'm saying. Anything that a computer can do, you can do on paper when we're talking about math. And in the case of cryptocurrencies, if you've got one half of a solution and you've computed it using the formulas that are involved to reveal the other answer, which will take a computer, a lot of cycles, but you will get to a point where you can prove that that answer is correct. You can
But that's not going to give me Bitcoin if I write the answer down on a piece of paper.
Sure it is, because you and the other miners that are now working on paper can mark that entry and mark that block as completed and continue on with your paper ledger of Bitcoin, for example. Yes, absolutely can be done.
No, you can keep a paper ledger, but you can't do mining on paper. I think we're going to have to agree to disagree.
Well, that was
on the definition
not
of words
the topic
here
at all, but I'm telling you.
So, yeah, news.bitcoin.com, where you can find out all about the national cryptocurrency of Venezuela and so many other crypto-related things, such as fantasy football giant FanDuel launching something they call the Bitcoin Bowl contest that I might have to wind up taking a look at here in just a little bit. So jumping back into the story from the Washington Post, and there's just a little bit more here, where, again, Attorney General Jeff Sessions wound up rescinding what was called the Cole memo from 2013, saying that the federal government would not interfere in states where cannabis was legal for either medicinal or recreational purposes. Cannabis entrepreneurs, this again from the Washington Post, they say cannabis entrepreneurs in the Mountain West and the West Coast said they were left with even more uncertainty after waking up to the news that Sessions was changing the state of play. Krista Whitley, founder and CEO of Las Vegas-based Altitude Products, says, "My phone blew up instantly. Everyone was calling and texting and asking for guidance. I think it certainly makes everyone insecure and adds a layer of confusion to an already complex landscape. What we're looking for in this industry is some level of confidence in where the future lies and some level of security."
Well, in every industry, if you have to deal with the government, you want to know what the ground rules are.
Right.
That's what people want. And even in
we talked about is that they can change the rules whenever they want to.
Right. But still, people in this country and business people and industries still seem to think that they can, if we can just get this regulation nailed down exactly right, then
because we're a nation of laws.
We're a nation of laws, and it'll make everything fair to everybody, or it will favor me and how I do business particularly well. That's how most laws become enacted. But it just never works that way. You've got a changing cast of characters who have their own whims, and this is the point where these people shouldn't be complaining that they don't know what the future state is. They should be asking themselves, does this system really work? Because from administration to administration, all the rules can change. From Congress to Congress, rules can change.
Andrew Friedman, former director of marijuana coordination for the Colorado governor, who at the time was known as the marijuana czar, said he wasn't surprised by the news from Washington because, quote, Sessions always wanted to create chaos in the industry. There's more to the article. It will be posted on the Facebooks and the Twitters. But let's go to the phones where we've got Dave calling in. It says here from Virginia. Dave, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead with your thoughts.
Yeah, to answer your question, are we a nation of laws? Yes, we are a nation of laws, but sometimes the federal government oversteps their bounds. And in the marijuana issue, according to my Constitution that I read, the federal government has no right, according to Article 1, Section 8, to talk about anything, make any drug laws.
I agree.
But the real question I called to ask, in November, the New Hampshire Senate passed a bill for school choice, and that would give the average a parent from New Hampshire about $3,000 for the school of their choice. I cannot find any information if it made it out of the House or the governor.
I believe you're talking about Senate Bill 193 that did wind up. What was it? 2 days ago, I think, passing through the state House. But then the bill has to be sent over to the Finance Committee for something. So there's still a couple more procedural votes before. And if it comes out of the House different than it came out of the Senate, it will go back to the Senate for the Senate to then wind up saying, we agree with these changes or we don't agree. And if they don't agree, then it goes to something called a committee of conference. So there are still some procedural things that need to happen before it can go to the governor.
Yeah, overall, God, I wish I had a couple friends of mine who are really well versed in this particular bill. They seem to be happy that the progress is being made. It seems to be chugging its way forward. There's been the word that the governor will pass this if it makes it to his desk. We'll have to find out.
That's why I said there's just a couple of procedural things that need to happen before it can actually get to the governor.
Right, but the downside of this, and the opposition to what I feel is pretty much a common sense thing, let the money sort of follow the student, which makes sense to me. If you want to homeschool, fine. If you want to send your kid to a private school, here's some monies that are going that way. The whole thing is being painted in every school district as this is going to devastate public schools and they will no longer have money to operate and your schools are going to close and your kids are going to run around like bumbling idiots because they never got an education.
From a philosophical libertarian standpoint, I can't say that I support this as a step towards ending the school system because it still has some centralized authority collecting the money before redistributing.
Of course.
But from a parent rights of being able to, get some of their tax money back to educate their kids.
Have a little more say.
I see it as a good thing, but I don't see it as a step towards ending the government control of the school system. Dave, thank you for the call. Your calls and thoughts, welcome. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Plus, what's going on in Venezuela? We'll tell you. This is Free Talk Live.
Have you ever wondered who the second person to discover gravity was? When you're in the mood for a treat, would you go to the second best bakery in town? Or how about the name John Breckenridge? Recognize it? If you don't, that's because he came in second to Abraham Lincoln. The firsts are first for a reason. Just how ID Stronghold was the first to create the technology to protect your credit cards from thieves with RFID chip scanners. ID Stronghold products block signals from those scanners, so thieves can't capture your critical data. Get a stronghold on your personal information and protect your family too. Don't settle for the second best wallet. Pick up ID Stronghold wallets for everyone on your list this holiday season. They're the perfect stocking stuffer, with leather wallets starting as low as $20 on Walmart.com, eBay, Amazon, and QVC. Save 10% by using coupon code PRESENT for a limited time. That's coupon code PRESENT only on IDStronghold.com. IDStronghold.com.
Radio is the most personal of mediums. I exist right now in your head. If you listen to Free Talk Live regularly, you know me. Free Talk Live is on more than 160 radio stations around the U.S. and has been downloaded on every continent around the world. Hundreds of thousands of listeners with ad packages from $600 a month to $6,000 a month. Imagine what we can do for your business, project, website, or idea. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Darryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Thursday, January 4th, 2018. Silver is trading at $17.05 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,310 per ounce. Zencash is trading at $50, and the average price of Bitcoin is $14,948. Antiwar.com reports that Saudi-led coalition forces have reported gains in the central Taiz province, with heavy fighting leaving dozens of Shiite Houthis killed, and claims that the Houthis have totally lost their supply line in the area. After the initial Saudi invasion in early 2015 at Aden, Saudi-led forces tried to advance north on the capital directly, but the fighting stalled at Taiz, where it's been contested ever since. Alternate routes have been attempted, but similarly stalled partway through. Houthi officials have not offered any statement on the latest exchanges, which were reported through the United Arab Emirates media outlets. Locals in Taiz, however, said they were still getting supplies through the Ib province. It would be difficult for a single offensive to totally cut off Houthi supply lines into Taiz. However, as they control much of the province and a broad number of routes from the north, it would have to be a massive push to cut off all potential supply lines.
For over 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. And as a Bitcoin-preferred business, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co.
UPI reports a Virginia recount court on Wednesday denied Democrat Shelley Simon's request to reverse a ruling that led to a tie in the House of Delegates race. As a result of the court's decision, the State Board of Elections will settle the tie by drawing a name from a container in Richmond on Thursday, more than 3 weeks after a recount declared Simons the winner of the race by a single vote. The result of the drawing will affect the balance of the House of Delegates, which Republicans have held a majority of since 2000. The initial drawing was postponed after Simons contested that a ballot can only be challenged during a recount, according to recount rules. The three judges asserted they followed the rules properly by ruling a ballot that had both candidates' names filled in, but featured a strike through Simon's name as a vote for her opponent, Republican incumbent David Yancey. The judges argued the language in the law is plain and unambiguous, adding that there isn't any language that says this written statement can only be submitted at a certain time. After learning of the court's decision, Simons wrote a letter to Yancey asking that they make a pact that neither candidate request a recount, contest the election, or pursue further litigation if they lose the drawing. Simon's proposed pact also requests both candidates insist the winner of the draw be seated on January 10th, the first day of the 2018 General Assembly session. Yancey said he would not agree to the pact, essentially guaranteeing Republicans a House majority when the session begins, regardless of who wins the drawing. If neither candidate is seated, the House will be split 50-49 between Republicans and Democrats as they vote to elect a new speaker and pass rules governing committees, which determine whether bills reach the House floor.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organization to show up in an emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare to the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT NoGov license. Cell 411, because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com. That's getcell411.com.
Reuters reports a California man suspected of making a hoax call that led to police in Kansas killing an unarmed man will not fight extradition to the Midwestern state, according to prosecutors. 25-year-old Tyler Barris has waived his right to an extradition hearing, according to a spokesman for the LA County District Attorney's Office. Barris remains in LA County jail without bail, according to the prosecutors. Authorities suspect Barris of swatting, in which a call falsely reports an emergency requiring a police response, usually by special weapons and tactics or SWAT teams. The 28-year-old victim, Andrew Finch, was fatally shot by a Wichita police officer after law enforcement officials rushed to his home following a phone call falsely reporting that hostages were being held there. The Wichita Police Department did not immediately respond to a request for comment. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
The Princeton Medical Institute has found that the most common deathbed regret, more than losing contact with family or spending too much time at the office, is never having sprayed a fire extinguisher all over the place.
Similar themes emerged in our interviews with dying patients. Some wished that they'd taken more risks. Others wished that they'd lived a life truer to their dreams. But almost every single person surveyed, regardless of their age or circumstance, said that their most significant regret was never having grabbed a fire extinguisher off a wall and blasted it around a room until it ran out of foam.
I've lived a good life. I was a nurse for 32 years. I have 3 beautiful children, but I've never smashed my elbow into a glass case, grabbed a fire extinguisher, and gone whoosh over everything.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live, kicking off hour number 2. In studio, it's Darryl.
And Chris.
And you can call in and join us and bring up whatever is on your mind on this snowy day. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Or if you want to sound really, really, really good and you've got a decent internet connection and a good microphone, you can call us on Skype, like Jamil has done from Norfolk, Virginia. Jamil, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead with your thoughts.
Hey, Darryl. Yeah, that's the Commonwealth of Norfolk, Virginia.
Yes, it is. The Commonwealth of Virginia, one of 4 commonwealths.
But not the big one.
Yeah.
Not the only one that counts.
That's if we don't count Puerto Rico, which is technically a commonwealth, but also a territory.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, we were the real first state, not Delaware. But anyways, yeah, I just wanted to call in and continue the discussion on the pot laws.
Go ahead.
I don't have any real skin in the game necessarily. It's just I don't have a complex comment to say. Just I've kind of lost my train of thought. I was going to say something before. Oh, but anyways, reality check. Trump didn't campaign on cracking down on these marijuana laws. The vast majority of Trump supporters don't view pot as a dangerous, and everybody, but it's just Trump supporters alone. There's a dangerous drug. It's something that needs to be cracked down upon. Where does this Sessions character even in 2018 get this mandate, or think he gets this mandate to crack down on marijuana? Because, I mean, the vast majority of the people, think the laws are way out of skew from just reality.
Right.
We all know.
Yeah, and I think that's an important point. You say, you can't say the vast majority of Trump supporters. Well, I think we can when we look at the polling nationwide on whether you think marijuana should be allowed for medicinal use or for personal use or things like that. It's an overwhelming majority. The numbers are way up there, and Trump couldn't have won without those. And furthermore, as the article pointed out, Trump said, I think the best thing to do is leave it up to the states.
Right. And Jamil, you asked, where does Sessions thinks he gets this mandate? Well, the fact that he was named Attorney General and somebody else was not. And, being originally from Alabama, where Jeff Sessions is also from, I can tell you that he thinks that, as long as he's got some kind of authority, that he's got a mandate to do whatever he wants to do.
Make the country safe again.
So, he gets named Attorney General, and he has been a drug warrior his entire life. Well, now he's the top sheriff in town, and we gonna get this stuff straight, and I'm the sheriff in town, and I'm going to tell all the other sheriffs how to sheriff because I'm the sheriff. But use discretion.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Trump can't just tell him to chill out and just tone it down. I just don't see where the congressman, somebody, I don't see where there's this big push outside of Jefferson, Beauregard, Sessions, whatever his name is, to crack down on the marijuana.
That's the interesting thing, to where Trump could say, dude, like, you overstepped the bounds, But as long as Jeff Sessions is the Attorney General, Jeff Sessions gets to send directives to the other U.S. attorneys. And, even though, like, Trump's kind of the big dog, that's a delegated sort of thing. So, Now, it would be interesting if Trump decided to issue his own memorandum to U.S. attorneys without, telling Jeff Sessions you need to retire. Which memorandum would they wind up following? Would there be some kind of legal dispute? Would there be a court case of Jeff Sessions v. Donald Trump that would go to the United States Supreme Court to determine which memorandum gets followed? And that's kind of, Chris, you're familiar with the Marbury versus Madison case, where it was one of these disputes of which one of these letters from some government bureaucrat do we wind up following?
Right.
Jamil, any further thoughts?
Not really. Just good to call you guys. I don't usually call on weekdays, but I'm snowed in here in Norfolk, so nothing.
How much snow you have down there in Norfolk, Virginia?
A lot more than we usually get. I heard it was 3 to 5. It looks more like 6.
Nice.
Yeah, I think they were calling for about 3 to 6 here. It's probably closer to a foot. Thank you for the call. Your calls and thoughts welcome. 855-450 free. So I did mention Venezuela, but there was actually a different story that we wanted to get to about a state that you used to live in, Chris.
My home state,
something
where
that
I grew up.
People in Oregon and New Jersey are not used to doing. And that is pumping their own gas. Apparently the world has ended in Oregon because gas pumps.
Oh, man. I remember this growing up. And basically, as long as I've been alive, and I had to Google it and find out when this started. In 1951, there were some laws passed, and it was a number of laws. But the primary one that got this thing going was a law that said that in the state of Oregon, no one who was not properly trained in the operation of a gas pump could pump gas into a container or into an automobile. And this week, Oregon has actually taken steps to repeal part of that law. And this story comes to us from the Washington Post.
All right, so before we get into the story, I'm just going to wind up guessing that they repealed the law saying that you are not allowed to pump your own gas. Everything has to be a full-service gas station. The law goes into effect on January 1st because that's generally when laws go into effect. And everything all of a sudden at 12:01 a.m. turned into a self-serve gas station, and there's nobody there to offer any kind of assistance to anybody on how to pump gas.
Former gas pumpers, will pump gas for food, holding their little signs up on every street corner.
There's like 5,000% unemployment rate because everybody was hired as a gas pumper.
100 cars in every line because nobody can figure out how the gas pump works. It's just mayhem. No, I don't know if what is true, but let's get into this one. A new law that took effect this week in Oregon will allow residents in rural counties, keep that in mind because it's not the whole state.
So we're not talking about Seattle.
Excuse me, that's in Washington State. You're thinking of Portland, maybe.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah. A new law that took effect in Oregon this week will allow residents in rural counties to pump their own gas, a divergence from the state's decades-long history of having attendants pump gas for drivers. Under House Bill 2482, which took effect Monday, retailers in counties with a population of less than 40,000 are allowed to have self-service gas pumps.
Allowed, not required.
Correct. Drivers in 15 counties can now pump their own gas any time of day, while those in 3 other rural counties can do so after business hours between 6 p.m. and 6 a.m. Because apparently they've got laws about when gas stations can be open too. The internet machine roared, fueled by a local TV station's now viral Facebook post asking people to react to the new law. Some commenters were angry and perturbed at the possibility of having to pump their own gas in the cold, while others from other states scoffed.
All right, so I'm curious here because I've seen some of these responses, and I'm curious if these are actual responses from actual Oregonians or if they're just responses from very clever trolls.
Okay, well, and we spoke of this a little bit earlier. I am a native Oregonian. I grew up on the eastern half, and the eastern half was much more conservative and I think sensible, common sense type of folks. There's a very famous sign in Portland.
So were
that
you
says,
a beaver or a duck?
There's a very famous sign in Portland that says, "Keep Portland weird," and they've taken it to heart. Here's a little teaser for you. The TV show Portlandia is actually a documentary.
So are you a beaver or a duck?
Yeah, I didn't really follow it.
Your calls and thoughts welcome. 855-450 free. What are your thoughts on pumping your own gas?
Oh my
God. Dear God. 855-450 free.
I got my Blink home security system delivered right to my door. I downloaded the app and it walked me right through the easy setup. Even with my complicated router system, I was done in like 10 minutes. Now it notifies me whenever something moves in front of the wireless cameras, or I can just check it whenever I want right from my phone. And I got you a deal. Get 3 Blink cams for what the other guys charge you for 1, plus an extra 10% off. Visit blinkprotect.com/FTL. blinkprotect.com/FTL. blinkprotect.com/FTL.
Thinking about getting into cryptocurrency? It's time you looked into Dash. Dash is digital money that you can use to send instant and private payments anywhere for pennies. Dash offers a decentralized network where miners are rewarded for keeping it strong and safe. Dash has made a huge impact in the crypto world. Start your journey. Check out dash.org for more information and get in now on the future of cryptocurrency. Dash.org.
The Bitcoin.com wallet is a simple and powerful full-featured Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin Core wallet that allows you to send and receive either currency with anyone, anywhere in the world. Download the Bitcoin.com wallet for easy and secure access to your Bitcoin Cash. It's perfect for beginners, and the Bitcoin.com wallet makes using and holding Bitcoins easy. No logins are required. The Bitcoin.com wallet is available for Android, iOS, Windows, Mac, and even Linux. Learn more at Bitcoin.com.
Cryptocurrencies are successful because of good technology. The liberty-loving voluntarists who founded Zencash in 2017 took the best tech, like zero-knowledge anonymity and decentralized autonomous organizations, and are creating a secure platform for money, messages, and media that can be sent to anyone, anywhere in the world. Zencash is a cryptocurrency dedicated to peace, anonymity, and decentralization. Find out more at zencash.com. That's zencash.com. On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
This Your Family Today tip is brought to you by Nestle Pure Life Water, helping you drink better and live better by providing a zero-calorie alternative to sugary drinks. Visit us at nestle-purelife.us. When kids are playing, they often don't want to stop to keep hydrated. So send them out with a bottle of water and encourage them to take frequent drink breaks or call them inside for a quick sip. For more tips like these, visit us at parenthood.com/yourfamilytoday.
You can connect with the Liberty Radio Network via our Facebook page at facebook.lrn.fm. That's facebook.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. 855 450 free. That's 855-450-3733. In studio, it's Darryl.
And Chris.
And, you know, we're talking about this anarchy that's happening in Oregon where people are expected to pump their own gas now in parts of the state. Maybe, unless the gas station still has an attendant. But, you know, coming up in just over a month, you can join other people trying to make anarchy great again. Talking about the Anarchapulco event. Go to anarchapulco.com to find out more about the event that's happening February 15th through the 18th at the Princess Resort in Acapulco, Mexico. Speakers such as G. Edward Griffin, Ron Paul, Jeffrey Tucker, Larkin Rose, Bruce Fenton, Brett Venat, Julia Taransky, Vit Jedlicka, and many more. Live music from Jordan Page, Rob Hustle, Backwards, and more. Again, happening at the Princess Resort in Acapulco, Mexico, February 15th through the 18th. That's the main event. And then there are other events such as a health and wellness retreat, something being called Cryptopulco, Change Media University, and an Amazonian ceremony called the Snake and the Jaguar. Go to anarchapulco.com. Use code FTL to get 10% off. That's anarchapulco.com, code FTL.
Back to this story. We were talking about the change in Oregon laws that will allow some counties and some gas stations to allow self-service pumps, which, as we were saying before. Right, so it's
not mandating that full service goes away. It's just allowing self-service.
And there is some mandate requiring that gas stations do continue to have gas pumpers. So we'll talk a little bit about that.
Do they also have elevator operators in Oregon?
I don't know. But
do they still have pin boys at the bowling alleys?
I think if you really want to get into all that, I think you would want to look to the city of Portland and that area and dig into their municipal laws and regulations. I think you'd find some really crazy stuff. That's just a guess. But the internet machine roared, fueled by a local TV station's now viral Facebook post asking how people were reacting. And here are a couple quotes from that. Quote, "I don't even know how to pump gas. I'm 62, a native Oregonian. I say no thanks. I don't like the smell of gasoline," the woman wrote on KTVL's Facebook post. The next one, "No, disabled seniors, people with young children in the car need help. Not to mention getting out of your car with transients around and not feeling safe.
Transients.
This is a very bad idea. Grrr."
So transients are only at gas stations? Do transients not also hang out at the grocery stores?
I've lived in this state my whole life, and I refuse to pump my own gas. This is a service only qualified people should perform. I will literally park at the pump and wait until someone pumps my gas.
I refuse to push the button on the elevator. That's something that a trained professional must do. We need lift operators. Make lift operators exist again.
Exactly. By the time the law took effect, Oregon had become a virtual laughingstock among social media users who seem to have visualized an entire state filled with hapless drivers. Quote, Fear not, Oregon. I've decided to move to Oregon to open a school to teach people how to pump their gas. Short-term business, you say? A man wrote and then listed a list of menial tasks he wants to teach people to do. His Facebook comment has been liked 61,000 times. Quote,
so what are some of the other tasks?
It didn't offer a link to that.
Okay.
Quote, I'm in Wisconsin, and with the wind chill, it's currently negative 17. You know what I did this morning? Had to pump my own flippin' gas. It's not that hard, people. One woman wrote, it's official. Oregon is full of mentally defective, full-grown children incapable of the most mundane adult tasks. Lost in the jokes and online chatter, however, is that the law does not impose wide-ranging changes, meaning many Oregonians who don't want to fill their own tanks won't have to. House Bill 2482 does not require all gas stations in the state to have self-service pumps at all times of the day. It simply gives retailers in sparsely populated communities, or about half the state's counties, mostly on the eastern side, the option to do so, and some have said that they will continue their business practices regardless of the law. So if they've got a good business going, they're used to paying a guy to pump gas, they're probably going to continue to do so either. It will also not eliminate jobs because gas stations with convenience stores are still required to have attendants during business hours. Moreover, self-service pumps are not new to Oregon. In at least one rural community, co-op members are issued cards that allow them to pump their own gas any time of day. And I brought this up with Ian. In my hometown, a town of literally 100 people in the town and 360 within 36 square miles. Not talking about a big community.
Right.
Somebody had the bright idea after waiting in line for hours of their lives at the one gas station waiting on the guy to pump their gas, that what if I open a key lock gas station? So in other words, what it basically means is if you joined this, I think he had sort of a membership program, you would be assigned a key that you would then use, and then you would be charged for the gasoline that you used from his key lock system. So yeah, people would, some would choose that. Another thing is in a lot of these rural areas.
Is this basically the gas pumping equivalent of, we're saying everybody's an entertainer tonight, which means you can smoke at the bar because entertainers are exempt from the smoking indoor requirement laws in some places.
Yeah, I don't know. A lot of the people,
you join a membership and then we're not selling you a beer.
Right.
We're, just filling up your cup with something because you're a member. You own a portion of this cow. You own 1/10 of the cow. I'm not selling you raw milk. You are picking up your share of the raw milk.
Yeah. But that was the idea. The idea was literally to get around this, and of course, higher costs come with higher staff. If you're running a self-service gas station in the town that I live in, here in New Hampshire, there is one place to buy gas. It is self-service, and it is never manned. There's never anyone there. That's just, it's empty. You go up there, you can use your credit card, you can't use cash. That's it. That's all you get to do. And where I grew up, a lot of people had their own gas, gas tanks, because it was a very rural community. If you had a farm, you weren't going to run the combine into town to fill it up.
Right.
So most people had a gas tank and a diesel tank if you lived on a farm, because you didn't want to deal with it. If you're 30 miles outside of town or 10 or 20 miles, it just wasn't worth it.
Speaking of gas and diesel, have you seen the meme floating around? 37% of cars in Oregon no longer operational because of using the green fuel.
I haven't seen that. That's good.
Your calls and thoughts welcome. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. What are your thoughts on allowing people to pump their own gas in Oregon? Meaning that people in New Jersey still don't have to do it. 855-450-FREE.
This is Dan Pilla. Do you owe the IRS money you can't pay? Are tax debts crippling you? I've defended people from the IRS for over 30 years. I've helped thousands, and I can help you too. I wrote the book on IRS settlement, and I'm telling you, there's no such thing as a hopeless case. Call 800-34-NO-TAX to finally get free of IRS debt. With the IRS's new programs, there's never been a better time to solve your problem. Call 800-34-NO-TAX. That's 800-34-NO-TAX, or my website, danpilla.com.
Anytime, any place, anywhere, radio remains the most intimate of all forms of media. At home, at work, in the car, on smartphones. Over 90% of consumers still listen to radio every week. That makes choosing radio as a place to advertise your business one of the best decisions you can make. Email advertise@gcnlive.com and partner up with an experienced GCN representative. Advertise@gcnlive.com. Easy, affordable, effective.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com. What do you shop for that you could otherwise buy at Amazon? Pretty much everything, right? Amazon has competitive pricing and they deliver, and that's a big plus. If you could plan ahead in your shopping, would you be interested in saving up to 33%? There's a catch. You have to do your shopping in Bitcoin. But imagine those savings. It's like a huge raise. All you have to do is go to saveitpurse.com. We've saved thousands, and you can too. Plan ahead and save. SaveItPurse.com. There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with agristhosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to agristhosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's agristhosting.com.
While our satellite channel is free to listen to, it's not free for us. You can help us cover our satellite costs with the chip-in on the right side of the page at lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. In studio tonight, it's Darryl.
And Chris.
Chris, a former Oregonian who I still don't know how you wound up surviving driving across the country and having to pump your own gas, having grown up in Oregon where that's just not allowed.
It took like 5 years, waiting at every pump for somebody to come along and show me what to do.
The very first time you pumped your own gas, you got it all over yourself, you breathed in all the fumes, you started a fire, and you were scared of all the transients around you, weren't you?
Oh, my God. Yeah, but the fact is people also travel, and guess what your travels do sometimes? They take you to other states.
Right, but we're talking about people, no offense, because I know you grew up in rural Oregon, we're talking about people that probably don't leave the county that they grew up in.
Oh, you'd be surprised. And I suspect, and I haven't seen the videos that have been like the man in the street, what do you think of this? I will wager that the bulk of those interviews took place in the very populated areas, which are very much like these comments we've seen.
Yeah.
And have little to do with the lesser population. But in the minds of many people in the Portland metropolitan area, that is Oregon. There is that wasteland where nobody lives outside of Portland.
Right. It's like
But that's
Pennsylvania
it.
is Pittsburgh, Philly, and then like Kentucky or something.
Right. So it most people kind of feel that it just doesn't really exist, and they can't imagine why anyone would actually live out there. But I grew up, in the middle of nowhere, and I liked it. Not enough to live there my whole life, but I certainly did enjoy it, and a lot of my friends do. So to get back to this story, we talked about it not really eliminating jobs, but also lost in the hysteria is that the bill, which was passed in the state legislature with only one no vote and was signed into law in May, was favored by some stakeholders, including gas station owners. Proponents of the bill argued it's impractical for businesses in rural counties to have staff available to fuel vehicles 24 hours a day. So drivers in need of fuel after business hours usually have to call state police for assistance. Police would then bring a small amount of fuel and ask the operator of the closest gas station to open. This is the type of thing that would happen out there. Thomas Downs, who owns a small restaurant.
Hold on. I'm still baffled by, hello, 911, what's your emergency? Yeah, I need to get some gas.
When you're in Eastern Oregon, you could be 2 hours away from the nearest gas station. That's not uncommon.
Right, but
2 hours.
My thought is if you run out of gas, call AAA, not 911.
No AAA out there. You know what I mean? I understand what you're saying, and there probably are. There's tow trucks, and there's probably places you could go, but what are people going to do if they break down in the middle of nowhere? They may not even have cell phone service. If they do, then
I don't know, but my first thought isn't call 911 because then the cop's just going to show up and shoot my non-existent dog saying he feared for his life.
Oh, I get it.
And then I wind up dead.
And I'll wager in a lot of these,
because he misses the non-existent dog and shoots me in the face.
Right. I'm not making excuses for that, but I am saying that in a lot of these areas, you may very well call AAA. Call the 800 number on the back of the card, and they're going to say, where you're at, we have no service. We don't have anybody who can drive 3 hours to help you out right now. So oftentimes it ends up being the police. And we were talking a little bit about the size of some of these areas. Oregon's about the 10th largest state. So it's hard to imagine that, one county, and this next quote, I'm going to read it. Thomas Downs, who owns a small restaurant and gas station in Harney County. Harney County is larger than the state of New Hampshire. That's one county in Oregon.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's one state. And other states have huge states too. In Southeast Oregon, testified during a committee hearing last year that the bill will allow him to focus on other services his business provides. He said he is the only reliable source of fuel within 85 miles, meaning his staff sometimes gets swamped. Our experience after almost 13 years is that the out-of-state residents are very capable of dispensing their own fuel. The majority of Oregonians delight in being able to if we are swamped. Dan Jones, who operates a Chevron station in Malheur County, it's close to the size of Harney County in eastern Oregon, said that the law would have no economic impact on his business and would allow him to promote from within. The Disability Rights Oregon, however, raises concerns that the law would have unintended consequences for people with disabilities in rural counties.
All right, so let's pause right there.
Sure.
And based on the definition that they have there of rural county, we may or may not live in a rural county. But I have noticed...
This is rural for around here.
Right, but I've noticed that there are gas stations around here that have signs on the gas pumps that say, if you're disabled, honk for assistance.
Right.
Or push this button.
Right.
Or something. And then an attendant, somebody that works at the gas station, will come out and help you.
Right.
So this is in no way saying, oh, yes, quadriplegic, pump your own gas.
Disability Rights Oregon, however, raises concerns that the law would have unintended consequences for people with disabilities in rural counties. The organization notes that the Americans with Disabilities Act requires self-service gas stations to provide assistance to customers with disabilities. So we have a federal law, not a state law, that may come into play here. Cale Williams, a columnist for the Oregonian, slammed the internet and some publications for poking fun at Oregon and making the state look like either a collection of feeble-minded troglodytes too dumb or lazy to do the deed themselves, or an assemblage of elitists who turn their nose up at the plebeian pump. The internet's content farms fired up in their harvesting machines and cherry-picked some of the worst comments and laid into Oregon, Williams wrote, adding later, could it be the rest of the country is mad that they don't have access to the fine dining equivalent of gasoline?
I've accidentally pulled up to, I didn't even realize that there's a gas station here in town that still has a full service lane.
Right.
I accidentally pulled up to it one day, and I got out the car, and the guy said, you're in the full service lane. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Didn't realize those things still existed.
Yeah, and I've seen them. I've seen them around the country. Once in a while, you'll see a gas station that has that. The story continues. Oregon and New Jersey are the only states that require gas stations to have attendants. So it's an interesting thing. And like I said, I wish people could understand the difference in all I can say is that Western Oregon and the Multnomah, the Willamette Valley around Portland and things like that, it's much more like San Francisco, and the rest of the state to the east is much more like Kansas or South
Idaho.
Dakota, or it's almost
a lot closer to Idaho.
It is, and there's a similar dividing line when you get into Washington State. You have the Seattle folks. And then you have everybody.
Basically, the Cascade Mountains sort of splits those two states. They do, and the disparity in population is tremendous. The biggest town near where I was at was Pendleton, and I think that had 13,000 people. That would have been where you wanted to go if you wanted to see a movie. And of course, the wonderful people over at Lifehacker. They have advice on how to pump your own smelly gas in Oregon and live to tell about it.
Gotta be good.
Step 1, pull into the filling station exactly as before. Drive your car up to the pump like you always have and remain calm while doing so. Remember, the law doesn't banish Oregon's petrol professionals to New Jersey, but simply gives you the freedom to fuel your own car. Put out your marijuana cigarette or any other kind of cigarette and leave your cell phone in the car. And then you pay to pump. And then there's a little bit more. Your calls and thoughts welcome. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. This is Free Talk Live.
From the third letter of Captain Mark. The Crown's observation conditions us to be dishonest with ourselves. Therefore, constant surveillance produces a society of constant deception. Honest communication is the seed of civilized conduct. To deny us this seed is to deny us its fruits. But the Crown's primary objective is to stifle free thought itself, to make its subjects incapable of dissent. Seasoned pirates have always encrypted messages and codes and ciphers, so intercepted transmissions were incomprehensible. But today, the Crown possesses advanced tools of pattern recognition that document, profile, and predict our every move. Today, piracy requires hailing frequencies completely invisible to the Crown. We are tired of poltergeists in the static. Looking for a community of like-minded scoundrels, or just want some swag to let the Crown know what you think of it? Join the conversation at pirateswithoutborders.com.
This is Dan Pilla. Do you owe the IRS money you can't pay? Are tax debts crippling you? I've defended people from the IRS for over 30 years. I've helped thousands, and I can help you too. I wrote the book on IRS settlement, and I'm telling you, There's no such thing as a hopeless case. Call 800-34-NO-TAX to finally get free of IRS debt. With the IRS's new programs, there's never been a better time to solve your problem. Call 800-34-NO-TAX. That's 800-34-NO-TAX or my website, danpilla.com.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug-out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of Slingbow, a new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
The 3 most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share 1 episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. It's my firm belief that Free Talk Live's AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented organizations. Support all the organizations you love, but make sure you give $5 a month to AMP at amp.freetalklive.com.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. And things are getting pretty bad in Venezuela. We've got an update on that because, well, their financial system is absolutely screwed, but it doesn't have to be. But unfortunately, you know, they've got this horrible central government that winds up just screwing everything up because that's what socialism winds up
They're
doing.
centrally planning, Darryl. They're figuring things out, so it'll operate at peak efficiency.
And if the Venezuelans had good electricity, they could wind up helping build a better financial system that a lot of people here in the U.S. and across the world are doing by joining Dash. Dash is digital cash. It's a digital money platform designed to replace cash and help people manage their own wealth. It's fast. It's easy. It can be private. The fees are low. The transactions are fast or can even be confirmed instantly. You can pay anyone, anywhere in the world, anytime for just pennies. Dash is decentralized. It's run by users who earn rewards for helping run the network and make governance decisions. Anyone can invest in Dash and earn rewards for helping run the network. So join Dash and help create a better financial system for everyone. Take back control over your financial future today. Find out more at dash.org. There's a lot of momentum behind Dash, so go right now to dash.org and find out why. So what exactly is going on in Venezuela. The Miami Herald says that economists are saying Venezuelan inflation could reach 30,000%.
That's a lot of inflation.
Yes, it is. Getting into the story, Venezuelans already facing unprecedented hardships will suffer even more difficult times in 2018 as hyperinflation could easily spike past the 30% mark, according to economists.
So might this be a good time for a short little economics lesson for people hear about inflation and
sure.
You remember last year when you paid like $1.50 for some eggnog, and this year you paid $2, and it's kind of struck you that price went up, or you know what I mean?
Well,
a lot of people think
that's inflation, right? The price went up, so that's inflation,
right? And that's what most people think. They think
that's why we need to fight for 15.
Yeah, but most people do think that, well, you know, if it costs more now to do that, and, you know, wages are going up, so I guess, you know, now a loaf of bread does cost $2.99, and a year ago it was $1.99. Well, that is not the cause of inflation. Is generally not the increasing cost of production of products. What the cause of inflation is the decreased purchasing power of your money.
Right. So to put it another way, an increase in the money supply,
which is
by definition inflation.
Correct. And when there is more of something, each one of those somethings ends up being worth a little bit less. You can think of diamonds versus grains of sand, which is more valuable. There are very few diamonds, so they are rare and scarce. They have a lot of uses, but so does sand.
Now, there are some people that would say there's not actually a shortage of diamonds. There's an artificial shortage because there's only one company that controls all of the diamonds.
The De Beers and all that.
Something, blah, blah.
You can substitute any other scarce product in there, and it still comes down to
gold,
the same thing.
Silver, aluminum.
Right. And
all three are metals. Which one's more valuable?
Right. And governments, when they go down this path of central banking, they have usually come from a place where the monetary systems were determined by the marketplace. Oftentimes, the governments would coin money out of gold or precious metals, and they would be scarce, and they would more or less hold their purchasing power until governments did things like shave off the sides or start making them less pure than they were before. And then guess what happens? The purchasing power of that money decreases. When you're in a modern central banking system like the United States is, and virtually every other country in the world, none of this money is backed by anything. It's just paper and promises. That's all your dollar bills are. And if the government feels that they need more money, they can print more money, and they can inflate the supply of money. So the fact that everybody should realize is that since the Federal Reserve came into existence in 1913, the U.S. dollar has lost over 98% of its purchasing power, and that's staggering.
If you read the website for the Federal Reserve, it says on the website that the purpose of the Federal Reserve is to maintain inflation.
Yes.
To maintain, and not to prevent it.
No.
Not to keep it under control.
There is
to maintain inflation.
A healthy level, they say. And basically you have a school of economic thought, the Keynesian school.
Yeah, you need like 1 to 3% every year. Otherwise, you're going into deflation, and that's horrible because then everybody winds up being poor, and that's how we had the Great Depression.
Right. The argument of the Keynesians is basically that you need to keep introducing new money in so you can build up new credit, because credit is what can fuel an economy to grow into expansion. And we need to break some windows. and there are
you
competing
gotta crack
schools.
A few eggs to wind up making an omelet, and you crack the eggs, and then you've got to go find the egg farmer guy and buy more eggs, and you're stimulating the economy.
Right, and that is the insanity that is Keynesian economics. If anybody wants to do a little research, and it's really simple to do and it's easy to understand, If you want to look at an alternative to that, look at the Austrian School of Economics, and a great resource for that is the Mises.org website, www.mises.org.
And you really don't need the 3 W's anymore.
I know that, but some people like to hear that. It gives them a feeling of security.
So continuing with the story out of Venezuela again, where economists are predicting hyperinflation that could reach 30,000%. They say the spike in prices means the buying power of Venezuelans could drop by 50% from one month to another and by 75% in just 8 weeks. So let's put this in perspective with that $1 loaf of bread.
Right.
That then in another month becomes a $1.50 loaf of bread, that in another month becomes like a $1.75, almost $2 loaf of bread, that in just a matter of months becomes a $3 loaf of bread. That's how horrible their inflation is.
Well, what were the percentage you were talking about on an annual basis? 30,000% annual?
They're saying month to month, 50%.
50%. So if your loaf of bread is $2, the next month it's $3.
Yeah.
The next month after that it's $4.50. These are
Right.
not small jumps.
Right.
And it doesn't take too many months before you end up basically replaying the Weimar Republic in
Zimbabwe,
Germany or Zimbabwe, where people are afraid to take their wheelbarrow of money down to the store to pay for their food because they're afraid somebody's going to steal the wheelbarrow because it's worth more than the money.
Right. The article here continues. The South American country's economy officially entered hyperinflation at the close of 2017 with an accumulation of problems that drove inflation to 3,000% for the year. Now, I want to wind up pausing here to say that technically it's not officially hyperinflation because the Venezuelan central government stopped calculating the rate of inflation.
Right.
Now, everybody on the outside can calculate the rate of inflation and see how skewed the exchange rate is on the black market for the U.S. dollar to the Bolivar Fuerte. But since the Venezuelan government is not calculating inflation, it's technically not officially hyperinflation per official things, but by all of the metrics.
You ask a Venezuelan, and that's the only metric you need.
Right.
You look at one of those poor people who can no longer afford to feed their family, if they're lucky enough to even have the opportunity to buy food.
The numbers for 2017 are not out yet, but we do know that in the year 2016, 75% of Venezuelans lost an average of 19 pounds.
Yeah.
Because they could not afford to buy food.
And we bust on socialism all the time on this show. This is it. Socialism is an evil, and it's being perpetrated on people in Venezuela, and it's killing them. That should be fought. Sorry, Bernie Sanders.
Your calls and thoughts welcome. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. What are your thoughts on hyperinflation?
Have you ever wondered who the second person to discover gravity was? When you're in the mood for a treat, would you go to the second best bakery in town? Or how about the name John Breckenridge? Recognize it? If you don't, that's because he came in second to Abraham Lincoln. The firsts are first for a reason. Just how ID Stronghold was the first to create the technology to protect your credit cards from thieves with RFID chip scanners. ID Stronghold products block signals from those scanners, so thieves can't capture your critical data. Get a stronghold on your personal information and protect your family too. Don't settle for the second best wallet. Pick up ID Stronghold wallets for everyone on your list this holiday season. They're the perfect stocking stuffer, with leather wallets starting as low as $20 on Walmart.com, eBay, Amazon, and QVC. Save 10% by using coupon code PRESENT for a limited time. That's coupon code PRESENT only on idstronghold.com. idstronghold.com.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless free market non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at bitcoin.com. That's bitcoin.com.
Did you know you can watch Free Talk Live during our live show 7 days a week from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern via our studio cams at cam.freetalklive.com? Plus, you can chat with other listeners while you watch, all totally free. Now that our live video stream is hosted by YouTube, our video archives will be online even faster. So be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Listen, watch, and chat all free at cam.freetalklive.com. That's cam.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Darryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Thursday, January 4th, 2018. Silver is trading at $17.05 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,310 per ounce. Zencash is trading at $50, and the average price of Bitcoin is $14,948. Antiwar.com reports that Saudi-led coalition forces have reported gains in the central Taiz province, with heavy fighting leaving dozens of Shiite Houthis killed, and claims that the Houthis have totally lost their supply line in the area. After the initial Saudi invasion in early 2015 at Aden, Saudi-led forces tried to advance north on the capital directly, but the fighting stalled at Taiz, where it's been contested ever since. Alternate routes have been attempted, but similarly stalled partway through. Houthi officials have not offered any statement on the latest exchanges, which were reported through the United Arab Emirates media outlets. Locals in Taiz, however, said they were still getting supplies through the Ib province. It would be difficult for a single offensive to totally cut off Houthi supply lines into Taiz. However, as they control much of the province and a broad number of routes from the north, it would have to be a massive push to cut off all potential supply lines.
For over 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. And as a Bitcoin-preferred business, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co.
UPI reports a Virginia recount court on Wednesday denied Democrat Shelley Simon's request to reverse a ruling that led to a tie in the House of Delegates race. As a result of the court's decision, the State Board of Elections will settle the tie by drawing a name from a container in Richmond on Thursday, more than 3 weeks after a recount declared Simons the winner of the race by a single vote. The result of the drawing will affect the balance of the House of Delegates, which Republicans have held a majority of since 2000. The initial drawing was postponed after Simons contested that a ballot can only be challenged during a recount, according to recount rules. The 3 judges asserted they followed the rules properly by ruling a ballot that had both candidates' names filled in, but featured a strike through Simon's name as a vote for her opponent, Republican incumbent David Yancey. The judges argued the language in the law is plain and unambiguous, adding that there isn't any language that says this written statement can only be submitted at a certain time. After learning of the court's decision, Simons wrote a letter to Yancey asking that they make a pact that neither candidate request a recount, contest the election, or pursue further litigation if they lose the drawing. Simon's proposed pact also requests both candidates insist the winner of the draw be seated on January 10th, the first day of the 2018 General Assembly session. Yancey said he would not agree to the pact, essentially guaranteeing Republicans a House majority when the session begins, regardless of who wins the drawing. If neither candidate is seated, the House will be split 50-49 between Republicans and Democrats as they vote to elect a new speaker and pass rules governing committees, which determine whether bills reach the House floor.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organization to show up in an emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare to the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT NoGov license. Cell 411, because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell GetCell411. Get it today at GetCell411.com. That's GetCell411.com.
Reuters reports a California man suspected of making a hoax call that led to police in Kansas killing an unarmed man will not fight extradition to the Midwestern state, according to prosecutors. 25-year-old Tyler Barris has waived his right to an extradition hearing, according to a spokesman for the LA County District Attorney's Office. Barris remains in LA County jail without bail, according to the prosecutors. Authorities suspect Barris of swatting, in which a call falsely reports an emergency requiring a police response, usually by special weapons and tactics or SWAT teams. The 28-year-old victim, Andrew Finch, was fatally shot by a Wichita police officer after law enforcement officials rushed to his home following a phone call falsely reporting that hostages were being held there. The Wichita Police Department did not immediately respond to a request for comment. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
This is the Onion Week in Review. A study published Friday by the University of Minnesota found that mosquitoes have no physiological reason for biting humans, with researchers noting that the insects feed exclusively on pollen and seemingly only suck human blood out of spite.
According to our findings, mosquitoes usually spit out the blood after a bite. They just really enjoy ruining outdoor activities and spreading deadly diseases.
Researchers added that mosquitoes often bite a variety of vertebrates besides humans, including baby pandas, koala bears, and very small puppies, all for fun. And in tech news, a new Visa talking credit card urges buyers to go for it.
Come on, buy it. You know you want it.
In other news, the utterance of a secret password grants customers access to a long-rumored 18-inch Subway sandwich. It's easy to tell what an area man would look like as a skeleton, and a longtime teacher retires without changing a single student's life. This week's scheduled interview with the surly and forlorn Matthew Modine was cut for time and is doomed to never be seen. For more, visit theonion.com/newsbeat.
This is Free Talk Live, kicking off hour number 3. You can join us by calling toll-free 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. The us in studio tonight is Darryl.
And Chris.
128,446.
Well, you threw out a number, Darryl. You going to explain what that might be?
Oh, yes. Yes, I will. That is the black market exchange rate between the Venezuelan Bolivar Fuerte and the U.S. dollar.
That's interesting. So the U.S. dollar is doing well against at least one world currency.
Yes.
A story I brought in, but we've never talked about on the air, has been that 2017, the dollar has performed its worst against most other foreign currencies. It's been the worst year for the dollar since 2003.
Interesting.
So the dollar has definitely been in a decline, not to mention all the dollars that have been flowing into cryptocurrencies and other non-dollar based assets.
Now, you might be asking yourself, or verbally asking me, shouting at your radio, why are you telling me the exchange rate between the U.S. dollar and the Bolivar Fuerte? Well, that's because Venezuela's inflation is, we knew it was out of control, but it's really, really, really out of control, with economists predicting that inflation in Venezuela could reach 30,000% for the year, with prices, again, actually, they're saying the buying power dropping by 50% month to month, 75% in just a matter of 8 weeks. Again, at the end of 2017, the inflation in Venezuela wound up crossing the 3,000% mark for the year. And the article here from the Miami Herald says, but that's just the beginning, says Francisco Ibarra, head of the Econometrica company. The rate of inflation began to accelerate significantly, they say, in August. But again, we know that their inflation has been out of control for quite some time. Again, the central government of Venezuela stopped calculating inflation, I believe, at the beginning of 2016. Again, the story from Miami Herald says the inflation began to accelerate significantly in August and faces no obstacles to keep rising higher in 2018 because the regime of Nicolas Maduro seems likely to continue printing money since it lacks the cash needed to finance operations. But there's a problem, not mentioned here in the Miami Herald article, but a story that we've covered previously. The Venezuelan government does not have enough money to pay for its money.
Correct. They literally are too broke to print more money.
Right, and so they don't have their own printing machine, which means that they have to contract it out. And one of the companies that they've contracted with, they owe like $72 million US.
Yeah, we're cutting you off. So what's a country like that to do? Venezuela comes up with what? Their own cryptocurrency.
Yeah.
See, that way they can just magically create money out of thin air, which is not how you do a cryptocurrency.
And we might talk about the way they're doing that crypto because Maduro is claiming 860,000 people are already signed up to mine this thing.
Right.
But we don't know if 860,000 Venezuelans have reliable internet access.
Well, anybody can mine.
Or reliable electricity. Yes, you can mine on paper, but that doesn't actually wind up sending ones and zeros from one computer
We've had this
to
conversation. Now, my question is can I, here in the United States, with an ample supply of power, albeit expensive, mine the petro?
I don't know. Yeah. I've not looked at the code. Yeah. I don't know if the code is available. I don't know if they're going to put it up on GitHub.
Right. Those are all good questions.
The article here continues, again, talking about the rising inflation, says that means that in just a few months, the rate of inflation could be way higher than what some companies have been predicting for years. Ibarra, again, an economist or the head of the Econometrica company, says those who are now predicting that Venezuela will close 2018 with an inflation rate of 5,000% don't really understand what's happening. We could hit 5,000 in February. The economist said, given the current conditions, a conservative estimate for inflation at the end of 2018 would be 30,000%. But 100 or 200,000% cannot be ruled out. He says, quote, given the current trend, the rate of 30,000% is in fact very optimistic. That's sad.
That's scary as heck.
When 30,000% inflation is seen as optimistic. Venezuelan economist Alexander Guerrero said the country's inflation rate grew 6 to 7-fold in 2017 compared to its rate at the end of 2016. But the acceleration in the pace of price increases during the last half of 2017 points to a much faster rate of growth for this year. Guerrero says comparing 2017 to 2018, it could grow by 35 to 40 times. That would put inflation at between 105,000% and 120,000%.
Unreal.
Although these calculations may seem outrageous, Venezuela would still fall far short of the hyperinflation mark set by Hungary in 1945, Yugoslavia in 1992, and Zimbabwe in 2007. Those countries saw inflation rates double from one day to the next. Steve Hankey, professor of applied economics at Johns Hopkins University in Baltimore, said any attempt to make predictions in a hyperinflationary setting like Venezuela's would be useless.
Right.
Once inflation hits those levels, we simply can't predict how much higher it will go.
And that's where in other countries you've seen people demanding their pay at the end of the day or at the end of an hour because they're not sure what the rate's going to be at a later time.
Right. And, this article here from the Miami Herald linked off, or rather it was linked to from another article that I was hoping this would actually wind up covering, but it does not, that apparently some Venezuelans, and Chris, you've got an article about this, some Venezuelans are attempting to use gold and diamonds to pay for medical care.
Yeah.
Let's get into that in just a moment, but let's finish this article from the Miami Herald, where, again, Professor Steve Hankey from Johns Hopkins University in Baltimore said that Venezuela has nevertheless clearly entered a period of accelerated deterioration and will face even worse conditions this year unless there's a significant change in the management of the economy. He estimated the current rate of inflation was close to 4,000%. Again, other estimates are about 3,000%. Could hit somewhere between 30,000, which is a conservative estimate, and upwards of 200,000% by the end of the year. Professor Hankey says the Venezuelan economy is locked in a death spiral. It is possible to contain the spiral and do so rapidly, he says, but that would require steps that Maduro's socialist and profoundly anti-American government would find difficult to adopt. Wow. He says adopting the U.S. dollar is the only guaranteed way to stop this. He also has studied 58 cases of hyperinflation around the world and advised 2 countries, including Ecuador, on how to shift to the U.S. dollar. Ecuador, another country that has at least talked about in recent years adopting their own national cryptocurrency. Professor Hankey says adopting the dollar immediately stopped the high rates of inflation in those countries where he advised them to do so.
Right. You get our inflation instead.
Your calls and thoughts welcome. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. What are your thoughts on hyperinflation and mining the petro?
She seems happier. Her fur is so much shinier, silkier, softer. She has really mellowed a lot.
Sheba is 105 lean pounds of shiny, smooth, happy dog for life.
The shedding has stopped. The itching has stopped.
Since 2001, we've helped more than 250,000 dogs get over their nutritional deficiency miseries.
And saved our customers bazillions in vet bills.
Everything we tried failed except the Dynovite.
Come to Dynovite for help.
DINOVITE.com. If you want the dog to be healthy, you got to feed it something healthy.
The omega-3 fatty acids.
Flaxseed, zinc, alfalfa.
The digestive enzymes that are cooked out of regular dog food.
Dynovite is nutrition.
Dynovite for life.
Don't let your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy.
Come to Dynovite for help.
859-428-1000.
859-428-1000.
DINOVITE.com.
I got my Blink home security system delivered right to my door. I downloaded the app and it walked me right through the easy setup. Even with my complicated router system, I was done in like 10 minutes. Now it notifies me whenever something moves in front of the wireless cameras, or I can just check it whenever I want right from my phone. And I got you a deal. Get 3 Blink cams for what the other guys charge you for 1, plus an extra 10% off. Visit blinkprotect.com/FTL. 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 I've said it many times on air, and I'll say it here. The New Hampshire Liberty Alliance is one of the most important organizations for freedom in the world. New Hampshire is ground zero for freedom, and the NHLA is the best organization at promoting effective liberty activism. This ad is sponsored by Free Talk Live, and I, Mark Edge, am a lifetime member because I believe in the NHLA. Please check them out at nhliberty.org. Not everyone can move right now, but you can support the cause. Donate top cryptocurrencies or old-fashioned U.S. dollars, nhliberty.org. Visit their website and see what they're all about, nhliberty.org.
A Rasmussen poll reveals that nearly all American voters share a deep fear of botching another election, with most voters admitting that selecting candidates for public office is something they're historically just not particularly good at.
I really hope I don't completely fuck things up as usual, but you never know. Things do happen.
According to the poll, 3/4 of voters said Election Day panic would cause them to base their vote entirely on hearsay, while 93% acknowledged that they only recognized names of local candidates from signs along state highways. In Cedar Rapids, Iowa, stunned friends and acquaintances expressed shock and disbelief when a body found in the woods turned out not to be Justin. Local residents found the naked corpse draped over a tree stump Saturday, and as news spread, many found themselves struggling to comprehend how it wasn't Justin lying dead in the forest.
I heard the news, and I still can't come around to it.
I just can't imagine that it's not Justin there lying dead in the woods. Are they absolutely sure it's not him?
Friends and family are still urging authorities to double-check the body, or at the very least, bring in Justin as a suspect.
This is the Onion News Network.
Did you know we've taken our LRN.FM telephone listen line to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line? Now you can call 712-770-8447 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed. And you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 712-770-8447 and choose from the menu. 712-770-8447.
In Survivor Max 2, School Bites, Max must scavenge through a wasteland swarming with the undead. Desperate to find the medicine he needs, he discovers a community of survivors at his former school. Has he finally found the safe haven he's been looking for, or will he discover that school bites? Look for Survivor Max on Facebook, read reviews on Amazon, and read Chapter 1 at survivormax.com.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
This is Free Talk Live. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. The Venezuelan central government is wanting to, at least they're offering, whether or not they're actually planning to do this or not, but apparently they're offering to try paying off some pharmaceutical companies with diamonds and precious metals. We'll dig into that, but maybe you've got your own diamonds and precious metals that you keep in some kind of safe, secure place somewhere on your property, maybe, allegedly. And maybe you want to be able to keep an eye on it while you're not actually there. And that's where the Blink home security system would come in very handy. You can get this thing delivered right to your door. You download an app on your mobile device, whether it be a cell phone, a tablet, etc. And then the app walks you through the setup. And even with a complicated router system, you should be able to get it set up in about 10 to 15 minutes. And you will get notified whenever anything moves in front of that wireless camera, or you can just check it out whenever you want on that mobile device. And have we got a deal for you? Get 3 Blink security cameras for what the other guys charge for 1. That's right, 3 for the price of 1. Visit blinkprotect.com/FTL. That's blinkprotect.com/FTL, as in Free Talk Live. All one word, blinkprotect.com/FTL. So the Venezuelan government is not in good shape. We've been talking about it for a while. Just talked about how horrible their inflation is, to where right now it's estimated at about 4,000%. Don't really know for certain because the Venezuelan central government stopped calculating a couple years ago.
It's not good news either way, but I could care less. I could care less how poorly the Venezuelan government is doing.
That means you could care.
Thank you, Darryl, for correcting that obvious faux pas. But I care about the Venezuelan people.
Right.
I want to see the Venezuelan government starve itself. I want to see them just collapse upon themselves and let some freedom come back into that country. It's insanity.
Right, but
everything
one of the
that
problems
goes, I know people are dependent upon the government.
Is that every time something bad happens in Venezuela, Nicolas Maduro winds up putting more things under control of that Venezuelan central government that has caused so many problems.
I get it. But I hope that as this goes on and as the internet is now out there and the Venezuelan people can read and see, and I hope that some English-speaking Venezuelans listen to our show, because we broadcast over the internet. Are we on? Do we have any satellite feeds to South America?
The satellite feed that we have is North and Central.
So we probably don't reach down as far as Venezuela. But if you know anyone in Venezuela, please pass on information about the show. I hope the people there educate themselves and understand that if they want to keep living under this, just do what you're doing. If you want to make a change, then it's going to be a hard decision to make. But at some point, it's going to be life or death.
Right. And again, we've talked previously on the show about how long people stand in lines waiting on whatever they can purchase, and they don't necessarily know what they can buy on the day that they go to the store.
Whatever's there, and if anything.
You're allowed to buy 2. Let's say you need 3 of them. Nope, you're allowed to buy 2. You don't need whatever they have in the store that day.
You're going to buy it.
You're still going to buy it and then probably barter with somebody.
Hopefully you'll barter, yep.
And article from UPI about the fact that the Venezuelan government has offered to wind up settling some of their debts with pharmaceutical companies using diamonds and precious metals. They say that bartering has become commonplace in Venezuela, especially in transactions between Venezuelans who are seeking to acquire sought-after staples. Omar Zambrano, a Caracas-based economist, says money was created so that we could avoid having to barter for basics, but we've fallen so far, we're going back in time.
Yep. That's a good point. I mean, that's why money was invented, and we don't know exactly where money came from. We know that it's been used historically. I mean, as far back as histories go.
Like the earliest recorded uses are like Mesopotamia.
Right. And they were talking about, debts and ledgers, actually, calculating how much different people owed and held and things like that.
There was a book that I read a couple of years ago called, what was it? The Knowledge Grows on, or Money Grows on the Tree of Knowledge, I think was the name of the book. And it talks about the history to where, again, the earliest recorded mentions of money, Mesopotamia, to where farmers would take a bushel of wheat to the priest, and then, after giving the offering, would get a silver coin called a shekel.
Gotcha.
That he would then go give to one of the temple prostitutes. And there would be an act done between the farmer and the prostitute that was to, basically symbolize being fertile with the land and hopefully wind up getting a good crop for the next year so that he could again go back, make that, deposit of wheat at the temple to again get the shekel to again visit the temple prostitute.
Are you going to explain to me where the phrase green thumb came from? Is that something kinky in this whole story too?
I have no clue.
Okay. But yeah, the history of money. And I've read lots of, I'm kind of a dweeb, but I read books on economics. Lots of economics books will talk about, its use. And that really is it. It's to make trade easier.
Right.
And money can be done well. And it has been in the past with, stable currencies, and it's been done horribly, like the U.S. dollar does, or the euro, or the Japanese yen, or the Chinese yuan, or
basically anything that is controlled by a central authority.
Right, and has nothing backing it.
Whether something's backing it or not, if it's controlled by a central authority, it's going to be poorly done because then you wind up with fractional reserve, and that's a completely different topic for
it's all scales of bad. But the idea in the past of having money backed by gold or by silver was to put some restraint on the growth
but again, if
money.
you wind up having fractional reserve, only 2% are going to show up, only 1%
any given day. So yeah, we'll make our reserve requirements low. So yeah, there's all sorts of ways governments and big banks and central banks can screw up money.
And again, getting back to barter, Caracas-based economist Orlando Ochoa says that using commodities to settle debts to pharmaceutical companies is extremely rare. Doesn't say, he doesn't say it's never happened. It just says it's extremely rare.
I would imagine.
But he adds, it feels like a bluff. It's as if they want to show off their assets to give the illusion that there's an intention to pay. even though they can't pay it.
Wow.
Your calls and thoughts welcome. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. This is Free Talk Live.
Looking for that edge during those intimate moments? We see many ads for enhancement, but the side effects include death. At GCN Team, we should change the Healthy Body, Brain, and Heart Pack to the Healthy Libido Pack. The brain and heart are not the only organs that require a healthy vascular system. For proper blood flow at the right moment, go to GCNteam.com or call 877-878-4203. That's 877-878-4203. That's 877-878-4203.
It's a no-brainer. A Big Berkey water filter is the one you need, period. You need a water filter that removes chlorine, fluoride, pharmaceuticals, BPA, and other endocrine disruptors, pesticides, bacteria, viruses, and much more, right? And does it all at only 2 cents per gallon. Get the original and most trusted name in gravity water filtration, Big Berkey. And now GCN listeners receive 5% off ceramic filter systems using code GCN. Call or click 1-877-99-BERKEY or BigBerkeyWaterFilters.com. That's 1-877-99-BERKEY.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippie! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you got to keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
I love My Magic Mud. I drink a lot of coffee. I had stains on my teeth. Then I found My Magic Mud, and I was told it would remove stains. So I paid attention when I brushed the first time. My Magic Mud is black tooth powder, and the difference it made in my teeth in one application was noticeable. With 4, my teeth were as white as you normal folks out there. Please go to mymagicmud.com and buy a jar. There's 150 applications for $25. You can use Bitcoin, mymagicmud.com.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com.
Armistice Day was a day dedicated to world peace, a day to perpetuate peace through goodwill and mutual understanding. This sentiment was lost when Congress renamed the day in 1954, so antiwar.com is reclaiming November 11th as Armistice Day, a celebration of hope and peace. Antiwar.com has been battling the war party for 22 years and has always been on the cutting edge of technology in this fight, having accepted Bitcoin donations for 5 years now. Antiwar.com is diving deeper into the cryptocurrency movement by adding Bitcoin Cash, Dash, and Zcash to its digital currency donation options. And to celebrate, Bitcoin.com has pledged $20,000 in crypto matching funds through December 31st. Help Antiwar.com accelerate into the future with a cryptocurrency donation today.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Do you want to help the show get on more radio stations across the country? We're already on over 165. We could be on more. and we could use your help. Join the AMP program. AMP is advertise, market, and promote. And that $5 per month or more that you send in winds up helping us be able to do just that. Advertise, market, and promote the show to program directors of radio stations across the country who make the decisions to add us to more shows or to more stations. AMP, amp.freetalklive.com. So we're talking about Venezuela, and Nicolas Maduro has decided that the best way to wind up helping the people of Venezuela, or at least the best way of helping himself, and when Nicolas Maduro is doing good, the people of Venezuela do good. Right. Chris? Something along those lines. But he's decided that Venezuela needs its very own government-issued cryptocurrency.
Of course, because all these geeks all around the world, they come up with an idea, they do an initial coin offering or an ICO, and next thing you know, they're worth a few $billion. So I'm sure they're seeing it as that. And as we talked about in the previous hour,
so is the Petro going to have an ICO?
I think they're going to do a straight mine. We'll get into the details of how it's going to work. But this does not mean, because something is a cryptocurrency, does not make it valuable. That in and of itself.
Right.
Darryl and I are very familiar with hundreds of cryptocurrencies that are just junk. All right.
Yes.
So, again, this comes to us from Bitcoin.com. The Venezuelan government has published a decree outlining the operation of Venezuela's national cryptocurrency, the Petro. It details the government's plan for the new currency, including its issuance, mining, and trading. In addition, the Petro will be backed by 5 billion barrels of crude oil.
Barrels of crude oil that can't actually be shipped out of the country because the ships cannot be inspected.
Oh, Darryl, come on. You're right.
I'm just
You're
letting,
absolutely right.
pesky little details get in the way.
5 billion barrels of oil and a mining plan. Venezuela's President Nicolas Maduro has assigned 5.3 billion barrels of crude oil worth over $267 billion to back the nation's cryptocurrency. He first announced the creation of the Petro in early December, as news.bitcoin.com reported, during a weekly national radio and TV broadcast. For those people that still have power and can hear radio and TV in Venezuela, he showed a document formalizing the provision of the certified Ayacucho oil field number 1 in the Orinoco petroleum belt for the support of El Petro cryptocurrency, according to RT, citing that, quote, every single Petro will be backed by a barrel of oil, unquote, Maduro confirmed.
So there's going to be 5 billion Petro?
We'll get into that and see if that...
Since there's 5 billion barrels of oil.
There you go.
And each one is backed by a barrel of oil.
Perhaps. Sounds like an awfully inflated supply of cryptocurrency right there.
Well, if they can't ever, ship the oil out,
correct,
then chances are they're not going to extract more from the ground, so there's still going to be 5 billion barrels.
It could be like banks used to be. Like if you show up at our door, we'll exchange the promissory note, which is our currency, for the gold in our vault. So all you have to do, Darryl, is take your cryptocurrency down there. They'll point you to where the oil field is and help yourself.
And then I just, will a barrel of oil.
Oh, that part's up to you. That's all up to you. Quote, we will be setting up a special team of cryptocurrency specialists, so they will be engaged in mining in all states and municipalities in our country, unquote. In addition, the president, quote, promised to allocate Arco Minero gold deposits from the Orinoco belt along with the country's diamond deposits, quote, end quote, to the Petro, the publication noted. This thing is backed by oil, it's backed by gold, and it's backed by diamonds. Where do I buy it?
And it's backed by the full faith and credit of the Venezuelan government.
Absolutely. The cryptocurrency superintendency and the national...
They pinky promise that they have the oil and the gold and the diamonds.
Exactly.
Pinky promise?
They do. They have oil. They have all these resources. The problem is that after years of socialism and central planning, they are so broke they can't afford to get this stuff out of the ground. Cryptocurrency superintendency and the National Blockchain Observatory will oversee the Petro's creation and operation, as news.bitcoin.com previously reported. Issuance and trading plans. The Maduro government has published a gazette which outlines a decree consisting of 13 parts referred to as articles. Nearly half of them concern the operational details of the Petro. Article 4 of the decree describes the asset backing the new currency, stating that the Petro, quote, is about Venezuelan oil quoted on the OPEC basket, as well as other commodities, including gold, diamond, coltan, I don't even know what that is, COLTAN, and gas, unquote. Moreover, each Petro will have a physical support, a purchase-sale contract for 1 barrel of oil from the Venezuelan crude oil basket, or any commodities that the nation decides. So it's good. They decided that they can flip that around. They can change it from oil backing it to palm leaves.
Right. And, as we mentioned earlier, whenever you're dealing with government, rule number 1 is they can change the rules whenever they want to. Another story from news.bitcoin.com says that Venezuela opened up the registry of cryptocurrency miners for anyone with national identification to sign up to mine the currency. Registration will remain open until January 1st, with registration being, quote, an essential requirement for natural and legal persons to have access to the Petro.
Wow. Article 5 reveals the nature of the wallets holding the Petro as well as the cryptocurrency's convertibility, stating, quote, the holder of the Petro may change the market value of the crypto asset for the equivalent in another cryptocurrency or in bolivars at the market exchange rate published by the National Crypto Asset Exchange House. The holder of each Petro will own a virtual wallet, which will be his own responsibility. This doesn't sound much like... I've never heard cryptocurrency sound so centrally planned, and that's exactly what one would expect.
Ripple.
The Gazette also provided some issuance details on the Petro and hints at an initial coin offering, ICO. The initial placement will be made through auction or direct assignment made by the superintendents of the crypto assets and related Venezuelan activities, according to Article 8. Furthermore, the government explains in Article 9, quote, the custody will be decentralized once the superintendents of the crypto assets and related Venezuelan activities have carried out the initial auction and assigned the crypto assets to investors.
They use words, but I don't think they use words in the way that the words are supposed to be used.
No, this is directly out of A Princess Bride.
We're going to control this through the registrar of cryptocurrency, but it's decentralized because we've distributed the cryptocurrency to everybody that has signed up with the registrar, and it's essential for natural and legal persons.
After we have been central planners and devastated any hopes of this thing actually working, then we're going to go ahead and decentralize it. Yep.
And by decentralize, we mean not decentralized.
They'll run it on 2 computers instead of 1.
Ooh, that's also distributed. And there's probably a blockchain. Do they mention blockchain somewhere in that 15-page whatever?
Not yet.
Your calls and thoughts welcome. 855-450 free. That's 855-450-3733. What are your thoughts on Venezuela's cryptocurrency? You buying?
Does your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy? Come to Dynavite for help. Order a 90-day supply of Dynavite. Pick up 2 bottles of Lico Chops, get the 3rd bottle free. New improved Lico Chops with omega-6, omega-3, vitamin E, and now 6 extra direct-fed microbials. Even better for the digestive tract and immune system. And dogs love it. Try Lico Chops. Buy 2, get 1 free. This is Henry Lukasevic for Dynavite.
CINOVITE.com.
Cryptocurrencies are successful because of good technology. The liberty-loving voluntarists who founded Zencash in 2017 took the best tech, like zero-knowledge anonymity and decentralized autonomous organizations, and are creating a secure platform for money, messages, and media that can be sent to anyone, anywhere in the world. Zencash is a cryptocurrency dedicated to peace, anonymity, and decentralization. Find out more at zencash.com. That's zencash.com.
People search the internet for everything, including you. With a few clicks, information from your past can be quickly discovered, from business deals gone wrong to misleading reviews, negative articles, and unflattering images. Studies show 78% of people search for someone online before doing business with them. Will they find the real you? With ReputationDefender.com, you can establish a positive internet presence. ReputationDefender.com pioneered the field with over a decade of experience, serving thousands of successful individuals and businesses. We use patented, award-winning systems to boost positive content and suppress negative material. Don't let the internet define you. Take control of your reputation today with ReputationDefender.com. For your quick, free reputation analysis, call 800-831-0771. That's 800-831-0771. 800-831-0771. Or visit ReputationDefender.com.
Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it. And once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world. So I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here. And I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, add yourself to the Shire map at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com.
Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that 1/10 of a calorie it takes to click on something. facebook.freetalklive.com.
Ross Ulbricht was convicted in early 2015 of running the infamous Silk Road Underground Market. The Silk Road was a gift to humanity and helped reduce the harms brought on by drug prohibition. For this good deed, Ross has been sentenced to life in prison with no possibility of parole. Now, an appeal is Ross's only chance, and he needs your support. Please visit freeross.org, where you can contribute via various methods, including Bitcoin. Visit freeross.org. That's freeross.org.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. Possibly time for you and your thoughts if you call in now to 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. And how would you like to try the best pillow you will ever use and try it risk-free for 60 days? I'm talking about the My Pillow. This thing is amazing. It's designed to fit to the shape of your body, hold your head and neck in the proper position. And I've been using it for a couple of years. Chris, you've had one for several years.
Well, I don't want to make it sound like I had one for 20, but I think we've had ours for at least 4 or 5 years.
Right. So you've had yours several years. The pillow is guaranteed to last you 10 years. And again, if you don't like it for some reason in the first 60 days, you get your money back. And one thing that's amazing about the MyPillow, aside from the fact that, it holds your neck in the proper position while you sleep, you can actually throw it in the washing machine when it gets dirty and has a lot of dead skin. And then you throw it in the dryer and it's still usable. It doesn't just turn into kindling to start a fire. Go to MyPillow.com. Use code FTL to get your very own MyPillow at half price, or get a second pillow free of charge. And remember, if you don't like it for some reason, in the first 60 days, you get your money back. And again, the pillow is guaranteed to last 10 years. That's MyPillow.com. Code FTL.
Yeah, so we've been talking about Venezuela, and we've been talking about their cryptocurrency and how it's going to roll out. To finish up this article, as for the launch time, Minister of Communications and Information Jorge Rodriguez was recently quoted by local publications saying, quote, "The first issue of the Petro cryptocurrency will be announced within days." Then during his year-end speech in a national radio and TV broadcast on Sunday, December 31st, Maduro revealed, quote, "In the month of January, I will be presenting all the conditions of the Petro to start operating."
He did not say which year.
No.
Just during January.
January, yeah.
But again, there is the other article also from news.bitcoin.com that registration for being a miner, the Registry of Cryptocurrency Miners, is open until January 21st. And again, they say that registration is an essential requirement for natural and legal persons to have access to the Petro. So if you want to use the Petro, you have to register with the government that you want to use the Petro. But don't worry, it's going to be decentralized.
Yeah, this is the part, like, strategically I don't get. If you're Maduro and your country is just falling apart, why do you want to restrict access to the people that are too broke to buy it in the first place? You know what I mean? Or,
well, see, no, you don't have to buy it. You just mine it.
Well, they also said there could be
a computer and your government-subsidized electricity, and you mine it, and then you're not buying anything.
Right. So basically, God, there have been many books like this. But it is sort of, yes, if you do this busy work, we will reward you with something because we have no real jobs to offer you.
Yes.
But, if Maduro, if the Venezuelan government came up with a legitimate cryptocurrency, and I'm going to say there's a number of cryptos out there that are backed by gold. Sometimes it's for religious purposes. So there's a number of Muslim-oriented cryptos that are backed by gold because they feel that that's in line with their particular religion. But they're actually allegedly backed by something. The problem is right now nobody trusts Maduro. Nobody trusts his government to back it with anything. So this is all hogwash. The other thing
it's going to be backed by oil and gold and talcum powder and diamonds and anything else we decide that it's backed by.
Yeah, and if you have to go through a laundry list of very valuable items to get people to believe you, that should tell everybody that
chewing gum, toilet paper,
you are never going to get this. You're never going to get your money out of it.
The full faith and credit of the Venezuelan central government.
Yeah, but if you were to do a crypto and you were to say, okay, here's how it is, and it's going to be open source, and we're going to let everybody inspect it, and we are going to tie it, and we're going to come up with some way of holding things in a recognized escrow. There are ways that they could have played that this might have actually generated some real money.
Right.
And if they were to allow their citizens to mine for it, I can really see this as a way that it could have lifted some people out of near death. But, of course, the Venezuelan government's not going to do that.
Right. Let's go to the phones, or actually, in this case, to the Skype, where we've got Ricky calling in. Ricky, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead with your thoughts.
Thank you there, Brother Darryl. That's the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania there. I mean, that's the legal name of where I live,
I said you're calling on Skype. I did not say where you're calling from. Go ahead with your thoughts, Ricky.
All right, Brother Chris, I got a question for you.
Go ahead.
Now, you were in the military, right?
I was.
If you don't mind me asking, what branch of the military were you in?
U.S. Army.
Okay. Is it okay to tell me what time period?
Sure.
Go ahead.
Oh, you really want me to say how old I am?
That's all right.
I was in during the early 80s, early to mid 80s.
That's an interesting time, actually, to be in. And this might be right up your alley. See, here's the thing. Now, recently, I had an issue, and I've been having some problems because I stand up against tyranny. I stand up against tyranny here in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. I stand up against tyranny wherever I see tyranny because I actually believe in this Southern Cross that I wear and what it represents. I'm going to show you how stand up to tyranny, what it does is, here's why people don't want to stand up against tyranny. And there was an individual that stood up against tyranny on this show. As I'm sure you heard, that I challenged to a duel with period pistols. Now, he never accepted it, and that's his problem. But here's what happened to me. You're military, so maybe you can tell me a little about this. Now, there's a man that wants to kill me right now. Now, I know I've been being watched since August.
Okay.
Now, first of all, this person has been investigating yours truly. He comes from the federal branch. I'm showing a lot of attention because of this Southern Cross that nobody seems to believe in, like Ricky from the Commonwealth don't exist. Now, the fact of the matter is he already went to somebody I know, a young lady. He pulled a gun on her, you know, because he was trying to fish for information. She didn't go for it. And he knows personal details about me. Now, here's the thing. I got both his real name and his alias. They both sound bogus to me, and I've confirmed that. Now, I'm wondering...
You've confirmed that they sound bogus, or you've confirmed the name and the alias?
Oh, no, they were confirmed, but they're bogus. And here's another thing. Now, this person has now continued to investigate me after this. Now, he had all his guns taken away because she put a restraining order against him. It doesn't matter because this guy don't exist. Now, I'm wondering, is he FBI or CIA or both? Because a family member believes he's FBI. Okay. Now, here's the thing. He's still investigating me. Now, I know what he's about. He's investigating me because of what I wear here, because the mumblings I'm making around, what I say on this show, and people laugh at me, some. But, you know, the people here aren't laughing because there's crazy stuff going on in the Commonwealth, you know, including with our legislature and different things. The resistance against the taxes, plans we have for the future. Look at the driver's license, the 2019 crap. They said maybe in 2019. Now, Ricky from the Commonwealth's in the center.
Hold on. What driver's license in 2019 are you talking about?
What changes they making to the Pennsylvania driver's license? Is that what you're saying?
Well, they said they may put the stuff in there so they can go on planes, you know, but they haven't actually said they're going to do it yet.
You're talking about the Real ID thing that
Compliance to
was
Real
supposed
ID.
to have initially gone in place in 2007, and then they pushed it back to 2010, and then they pushed it back to 2013, and then they pushed it back to like 2017, and then now they're saying maybe 2020, maybe 2022.
And I was disappointed New Hampshire kind of caved on that, didn't we?
New Hampshire has a Real ID opt-in.
Okay.
So if you want a Real ID compliant license, you can get it. If you don't want it, then you don't have to. But continue. I think you were close to a thought. Continue, Ricky.
Yeah, but I mean, basically what it comes down to is I stand up against tyranny in very vocal ways, not only amongst the people wherever I go. I deal with the state and their crap all the time, and I beat them. And here's the thing, the same with our government. Now, so about the FBI, that's what I'm wondering. Is this guy FBI or CIA?
I have no clue, Ricky. Maybe you can talk to the voices inside your head. Maybe they have an answer. That's it for tonight, but we're always online at freetalklive.com.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market.
Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's